and I'm going to run the intro.
Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real time news updates, in depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.
With me on Fanbase. All right, so we are now live on YouTube. So, Ja, I know you are logged on to Jano Radio. Morning, James. Morning, Marlon. I need James. Do me a favor, and I hope you can talk. So we were having some issues with regard to audio, folks on internet radio not being able to hear what was going on Fanbase, what was being said. They were only hearing me silence and my crazy laugh. All right, so I'm back. Oh, you hear me speaking on YouTube. Okay, good. So I have visual on YouTube. Yay. So now it's to regain connection with I'm glad it's the commercials that you're getting. So there is a thing there. All right. Let me tell you something, technology good, technology annoying sometimes. All right. Let me go ahead and get myself situated on YouTube. Yeah, because I haven't reconnected yet, Jazz. So I am bringing up the connection to get back in to Jano Radio. Bear with me 1 second, please. Yeah. So when these things happen, we just put a smile on our faces and keep on moving, they say. Oh, the song I gotta keep on moving. All right. So I should be back on YouTube. There is some latency, so give it a couple seconds and you should be able to hear me. And you can let me know, Ja, if you're hearing me. Right? When? Oh, and here we go. We lost internet again. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. What? Okay, can we get good internet service? That's all I want. Good internet. So you say I'm back on, Ja? I'm back? Internet.
Yeah, I
All
heard
right.
everything you said
Okay.
about getting internet service and all.
All right, beautiful morning, Mad Libran. Mad Libran is with us on YouTube. Thank you so much, Mad Libran. I appreciate you. All right, so welcome to everyone. Let me just start over. Gotta start all over again. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone listening on QMZRadio.com for quality music while you work or play. JohnNo.com, the nonstop party vibe station. MadMusicHouse.com, any genre, anytime. Of course, a big thank you to everyone right here with me on Fanbase, my Fanbase family. And if you, well, I invite you. You see, you keep, living in the back of my head. I keep hearing your voice. Got a phrase, say things right. I invite you to join the YouTube live. You can watch on YouTube by www.coffeeintoe.com. And once you enter the site, just hit the link and you can watch live and also subscribe to the Coffee Into YouTube channel. For those of you here on Fanbase, I invite you to click the link at the top of the page. Yeah, and subscribe. Subscribe. We're moving different in 2025, right? We're growing in 2025. We are letting go of certain things that were holding us, Jack. James, back to you, James. Can you please say something so that I can have Ja let me know if she's able to hear fan base? James, where you there? Morning.
Morning. Do you want me to say something about Donald Trump?
Our president, Donald Trump. Listen, everywhere. Yesterday, James, putting the stories together, it was all Mr. Trump. It's like, and I'm not just talking about NBC, ABC, CBS, all the US media houses. It's global.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It was a struggle finding stories yesterday to put a runner show together for us to have scores. You know, yeah.
Well, the only thing I can say, I hope when I get to that age, I have that type of energy. My gosh, that man must drink blood or something. He must be drinking somebody's
What you
blood.
say? He was reinvigorated. Listen, I did not watch the inauguration. I have not watched anything inauguration. I'm just seeing the clips of things posted. And one thing that's kind of bothersome for me is some of the things that have been revoked. Number one on the list is Biden's executive order to reduce costs for Medicare and Medicaid. That one really, I feel it. I really feel it. And if, for a lot of folks, regardless of how what your party affiliation is, everyone is going to be
Yeah.
affected. Everyone who relies and on subsidized medication, right? Subsidized healthcare, they're going to feel it. And we have to think about them. Unfortunately, how can you put the priority or the needs, I wouldn't even call it a need, the wants of the pharmaceutical industry, the entire healthcare industry over those of the people, right? Majority of Americans are not wealthy. Let's be real. Majority of Americans are going month to month, day to day, week to week, day to day, paycheck to paycheck. So when you look at a diabetic who needs a medication, and truth is the medication in this country, and I think we've had this here when we pulled up prices at same medication, different countries around the world. Something that will cost $20 in another country is hundreds of dollars here. Well, only thing I can say is medical tourism is going to be on the rise. People are going to start going elsewhere. I don't know. But Ja, thumbs up if you're hearing fan base on Jano. Let me know, please. And thank you. So we can get started. Jump into our stories for today. Waiting for the thumbs up from Ja. Unless she probably stepped away. All right, go ahead. Say something again. Say something again, James. Marlon, I don't know if your mic is open or not. It's showing that your mic is open. Um, So double check that for me, please.
No, it's not open. It's
Oh,
not showing open on my side.
not showing open on your side. Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you. Ja, we good? Are we done? We good? Good? Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you so much for helping me with the troubleshooting and let us get the ball rolling. As always, we start off in the Caribbean corner. First up, according to CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com, Caribbean immigrants brace for new administration's mass deportation raids. Article courtesy of Caribbean National Weekly and other immigrant communities across the United States are bracing for potential mass deportations as Donald Trump vows to enact the largest removal operation in U.S. His pledge to begin deportations on day one of his presidency has sparked anxiety, particularly in states like Florida and New York, which are home to some of the largest immigrant populations in the nation. According to the Migration Policy Institute, two-thirds of Caribbean immigrants in the United States resided in Florida and New York during the 2015 to 2019 period, with 41% in Florida and 25% in New York. Miami-Dade County in Florida alone was home to approximately 864,800 Caribbean immigrants, representing 20% of the total foreign born population in the US. Yes, we are a force to be reckoned with. The Caribbean, stand up strong. Okay, Trump's proposed mass deportation plan, however, faces several challenges, including logistical hurdles, legal battles, and opposition from local law enforcement in certain areas. Immigration advocates warn that targeting these communities will destabilize families and erode trust in public institutions. But let us be honest, does it even matter? Does it even matter? Hmm? Is there any care in the world if families are destabilized? No. So, it's just another day, just another day, just another day. We keep it moving. Um, should we care that the trust in public institutions will be eroded? I don't think that should be, for me personally, I don't think that's something that should have been because it's something that was preached, campaigned on. So why would we lose trust in public institutions? It's not as though it's something that sprung on us. It's something that has been promised. Now it's just turning the promise into a guarantee. Am I wrong or am I right? Let me know. Let me know. You know, I'm not surprised. Um, do I feel compassion? Do I empathize? Heck yeah. Yes. Right. There's the person, the president of the New York Immigration Coalition, um, is saying that this move will discourage families from sending their children to school or seeking essential services. You know, um, morning RoSolo, morning Adesoji, morning Hydro. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Or
Yeah,
afternoon to you, Adesoji, as you're there
yeah,
across
good
the
morning.
pond.
Good
Yeah.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Americans.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like how you said it yesterday.
Good morning, Americans.
Good morning, LJ.
Good morning, Sister Ja.
Oh gosh, aren't you quite chipper this morning? Listen,
We've had our tea.
you've had your
How's it
tea.
going on there? Day one.
Day two. just to get back. Okay, visual is back on YouTube. All right, here we go. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Diana King. Oh, that voice is in my head with that song. All right, so advocates argue that aggressive deportation policies would not only harm individuals, but also disrupt local economies and strain public resources. Listen, if I don't know, should I tell people them just pack up and go on home if them know, say, there is a strong possibility that they are going to be picked up? What would you say to them? Just go home. Just book a ticket and go on home. What's your recommendation?
No, the story of our people has been one of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
We've surpassed things that are bigger than this in the past, and we would persevere and get through it. We just have to. Here is the thing: we have to now pull together. I don't just mean that in terms of just speak. In action, in practice, everything has to be in sync.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if no one can do it, like you throwing yourselves to the wolves. You can't do this thing on your own. So you're gonna have to reach out to body of lawyers, and I hear there are lawyer volunteers out there. So speak to them, get whatever paperwork you need to get checked, and take each day at a time. Thinking of 4 years in 1 week will drive any normal human being insane. I'm sorry, but the thing is,
Today. All right.
Look at it this way. All the stories that you have for today, you can save for another day. You have 1 day of rest. I'm
Um,
trying I'm always trying to look at the positive side sometimes. So you have a day of rest. Let it go, take a couple of breaths in and out, in and out. It wouldn't be the first time that we just have a good time speaking amongst ourselves.
that's true. That is true. All right. So is that this is what the third time? Third time's a charm. Let's do this again and see. Let me reinstate the here on online radio. All right. If it got on one more time, I must have. Oh, I didn't say this to my listeners online. We have been having some internet issues. Um, I'll say this: if it goes down again, I do apologize, but we will not be continuing because it's a bit much to log out, log back in, log out, log back in. So if we lose internet again and you have lost Coffee and Toe, to my listeners online, I invite you to join us on Fanbase. The app is available in your Google and Apple Play stores, and also probably connect to YouTube. Yeah, go to your YouTube channel because that will continue if you are on 5G. So, or even if you have data. Okay, this is it. Let go. As they say in South Florida. Let go. Yeah, what was the last thing you said, Adesoji? We'll be okay. We've fought greater battles. It is a matter of standing the test of time and coming together. Right?
yes, perseverance.
Yeah.
Persevere together. A problem shared is solved.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned something, and I was not aware of this. You mentioned that a lot of there are many attorneys who are offering their services
Yeah,
pro bono.
yeah. If you Google it, you will see streams of lawyers that are volunteering their services in. I know of some in the state of Texas, and where else did I say that thing? Yeah, Texas, and I mean I'm sure they were all around the country, but predominantly Texas. We all know why, because of Hot Wheels.
Names, names, names. All right. As you say that, thank you for that. Dre, your yesterday we had a story regarding your friend. We highlighted him as let me see if I can find it back on. Let me go back to yesterday's runner show. And you weren't here. Jamaican American attorney Siku Clark named Forbes's entrepreneur to watch in 2025. So, you know, congratulations to your friend. Yeah. So that came up yesterday. All right. So, and I know I have, since you made me aware of him, I have seen a lot of his content on various social media. Right. So he's one that folks could possibly reach out to. There's another one here in South Florida that I listen to her a lot. And the reason I listen to her a lot too, she does share valuable information. She is Jamaican. Uh Tremaine Hemmons. Yes, Tremaine Hemmons. She's another one. She's a Jamaican. She's Jamaican. She practices her immigration law here in the state of Florida. So, anyone listening, if you're in Florida, go ahead and connect with either. And there are a slew of them out there. The thing is to find the right one. Ask questions too. You know, a lot of times people will refer you to one who is able to help them. One other thing I will ask you is not to compare your situation, your circumstance with someone else's. Everybody's situation is different, no matter how similar they may sound. And also remember this, people are not going to tell you everything about what's going on with them. And this is something I need us to understand. People will only let on what they feel is necessary, right? A lot of people hide a lot of stuff, and then the little that they give you, you take that and you run with it. And then when you speak with a professional and you are hearing something different, or you're recognizing that your outcome is going to be different, you get disappointed. Everyone's case is different. Okay? Thank you. Can't stress that enough. Bear that in mind, please. All right. But I agree with Adesoji. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry. Now is not the time to go into panic mode. As Josh said to me yesterday, as we were having our issues with the whole internet and the technical details, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Yes. And Kwame Ture will always say, Stokely Carmichael, for those who are not aware of who he is, would often say three words: organize, organize, organize.
Yes. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, that is it. You have a plan. Have to have a plan. All right. So next up, or next door, we head on over to Guyana. Guyana to seek help from UN's top court as Venezuela vies for control of disputed territory. This article courtesy of the Independent. Guyana said on Thursday that it will seek help from the United Nations' top court to deter plans by neighboring Venezuela to elect a governor to rule its western Essequibo region, an area in resources long claimed by Venezuela as its own. Guyana's foreign ministry said in a statement that Venezuela's plan violates a December 2022 agreement between the two countries to not trigger conflict or escalate tensions over the mineral and oil rich region comprising 2/3 of Guyana's land mass.
The people of Guyana's Essequibo region are Guyanese nationals who live in Guyana's sovereign territory, the ministry said. It would be a flagrant violation of the most fundamental principles of international law enshrined in the UN Charter for Venezuela to attempt to conduct an election in Guyanese territory involving the participation of Guyanese nationals. The ministry said it would ask the International Court of Justice in the Netherlands for provisional measures to stop Venezuela in its tracks if it goes ahead with plans to elect a governor in Essequibo. It said plans by Venezuela to administratively incorporate Essequibo into Venezuela not only jeopardize the judicial process, but also undermine the authority of the court as the principal judicial organ of the United Nations. Why don't they do this? Why don't Guyana and Venezuela come together, sit down over lunch, over dinner, over breakfast, whatever, and say, you know something? Instead of us going back and forth and, caught up in a row, why don't we both benefit from the resources? We split it 50-50. Why are you laughing at me, Adesoji? Is that
No, I'm not
am I
laughing
being,
at.
you're laughing? Yeah, laugh after me. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, laugh after me.
No. I'm laughing. No, I'm laughing at what the story you read. The story you read is so loud. It says something so loud, yet it's so silent. What is it? Guyana is going to the International Court of Justice under the auspices of the United Nations, right? And he wants what's the term again? He wants preventive measures taken against. Okay. Now, here's where it gets tricky. They're both members of a body, the Organization of African American States, isn't it? Both of them. Yeah. So normally be the first point of call. Why didn't they go there? Instead of going to International Criminal Court of Justice, you're seeking what Guyana is inadvertently seeking, or what is being prompted to do there, is to go there with the idea that you're going to have international arbitration that will be respected by the world. Here is where that arguments fall flat on its face. The United States, which is the principal body behind the United Nations, does not recognize the International Criminal Court. So would it not be hypocritical if the United States will now start backing Guyana in arbitration in that same court? That's why I was laughing.
Okay. So I know we have gone to Google before in the past, and let me go back there again. Excuse me. So what is the conflict between Guyana and Venezuela? The long-standing territorial dispute over the Essequibo region escalated into a crisis in 2023. The region, and of course, if we remember, if memory serves us well, if you've been a part of Coffee and Joe, you would know that this crisis, or everything escalated into a crisis because of the discovery of more oil. Okay, right, in the Essequibo region. The dispute dates back many years, and the current border was established by the Paris Arbitral Award in 1899. So, of course, the question looms, does Venezuela own Essequibo? So, right now, Venezuela currently seeks to abrogate the legal borders and currently agrees to the Essequibo River boundary. In March 2024, Venezuela passed a law that designates Essequibo as a new state of Venezuela. Yeah. So I think this can be settled. I mean, we're wasting money and a lot of time. At the end of the day, it belongs to the earth. Right? Both countries can benefit. It's not that hard. I guess I say things. Mr. Fight up. Give it to her. All right. Things got
But
messed
why?
up.
But why when everything is in your favor? It's not. It's that region is already part of Venezuela. Discover oil. I mean, it's part of Guyana. When they discover oil, Venezuela want to take over, right? Most of the oil companies is U.S. oil company, right? And U.S. is already having conflict with Venezuela. Then you have Trump in office. Everything is in Guyana's favor. Why give them half when you can just get rid of them right now and get them off your back? Might sound a little harsh, but this is the time to get them off your back if you want to make a move.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was Guyana, I wouldn't negotiate and just give them off. That's extortion.
And these things always happen anywhere. Look at what's going on across the continent. All these rebel groups, wherever we have resources or quote unquote rebel groups who are fighting to protect their resources, we have international bodies coming in and wanting to take over. Wherever there are resources, there are problems, and we don't want no problems inside of the world. I don't know. Minute.
So because you don't want problem, you go make people just bad you up and always take what belongs to you.
Sometimes
Yep.
it's best to walk away. Go ahead, James. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, but Dre, remember, there's history there, right? Because remember that piece of land and everything that was disputed. Like it's probably about 100 years now. There's been dispute going on between both countries, right? So I feel like, in a sense, it would be better to resolve it in a amicable way. Like both sides can benefit, because the thing is, America does not care about Guyana. Once America get their money out of it, so and get their money out of it, Guyana is going to be left with Venezuela as a next door neighbor. And Guyana, remember, for over 20 years now, the crime rate's been high in Guyana, and they can easily destabilize Guyana. It doesn't even take a war because they are next door. People can just come over. And then at the same time, Suriname and Guyana also have dispute over natural resources too. They share a green space where they have dispute, but it's not in. The Americans are not a part of that, so we're not hearing about it. So Guyana they're sandwiched by Suriname, French Guyana, and Venezuela. And right in that region, there have a lot of natural resources that everybody's fighting for, and Guyana is sandwiched in the middle of it. So I think it's better if they sit down together and work out something, than because the entire region can just be destabilized, like Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela. Like if that entire region just fall apart,
Mm-hmm.
do you think America cares? They're not going to care, because Cuba is Cuba, Haiti is Haiti, and they don't care. So are they going to care
Yeah,
about that region?
Cuba and Haiti don't have oil, but America care about oil. So
No,
you're
but
gonna
that's what I'm
use that.
saying. Once they
Wait,
get their
use
thing
it to
out
your
of it,
benefit. Yo, use it and build an army. Use all the oil money that Exxon and all of that pumping in and build an army and have to protect yourself. But you can't let people keep on taking what you think, what they think, taking what is yours. At some point, it have to be stopped. So they're gonna have problems with Suriname. They're gonna keep on having problem with Venezuela. And once they let this slide, what else the Venezuelan going to do to them? That's all I'm saying.
Adesoji, thank you, Dre. Thank you. Adesoji, you were gonna say something?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, the idea of standing up to Venezuela does not. I mean, mathematically, it doesn't even hold water. The country would be overrun in days. Not so. The idea that they're going to stand up to, even with the might of the United States, like James said, the United States will come, take what they need, and they would leave. They want to. We know through history they have only a 20 years span in terms of their presence. They've done it in Afghanistan, they did it in Vietnam, they did it in Iraq. So we have 3 examples. So they will come, do another 20-year stint and leave. And guess who will be left holding the can? So yes, go to the court, get some sort of administration, then go to the Organization of African States, American States. What do I keep? American States.
Yeah.
Yes. And then go and sit there and talk. There'll be somebody that can mitigate between you. I mean, we have the gentleman, if it's not too disturbed in Jamaica, who can help, arbitrate. I mean, he has the ears of the American. He also has the ear of the Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So he can speak. On both, he can speak to both parties. Are you?
Yeah, great point. Yeah. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. So let us go ahead and move on to the next story. We'll see how that will unfold in the coming days or months. All right. Next up, more Kenyan soldiers arrive in Haiti. Let me pin the link on YouTube. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching on YouTube. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the YouTube channel. And you remember, you can watch YouTube live by going to www.coffeeinto.com. All right. I went back in on internet radio. That's me. I don't give up. Yes, I know I will sound frustrated and everything, but I will fight to the end. Fight to the death of it. All right, folks. So we're back up on internet radio, and I want to say thank you to everyone listening there for your patience as we navigate the storms of connectivity. All right. According to CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com, Haiti's Prime Minister has stated that the arrival of 218 police and military personnel highlights the strong commitment of both the Haitian government and the international community to combat armed gangs and restore peace and security in the country. The deployment underscores ongoing efforts to stabilize Haiti, a member of the French-speaking Caribbean community CARICOM, amid escalating violence and instability. He said the arrival of these reinforcements marks a crucial step in freeing our country from the grip of criminal networks and restoring peace there. The arrival of the Kenyans over the last weekend brings the total strength of the United Nations Security Council sanctioned multinational security support. All of that 3 letters MSS. Whew. Mission to Haiti. Anyway, it's 807 military and police officers, including 617 Kenyans, 150 Guatemalans, 8 Salvadorans, 6 Bahamians, 24 Jamaicans, and 2 Belizeans. So the MSS is expected to reach 2,500. Last week, the Belize government said it is considering whether or not to deploy more soldiers to Haiti, after indicating that there are a few outstanding issues that have to be resolved before troops can be sent there. 2,000 is what they're aiming for. Will that make a difference? Will they achieve the ultimate goal? Laughable or not?
Laughable, farcical, unsustainable. What's the other word? Unethical. What's the other word?
Oh my gosh, you're going in.
I-
You're going in pretty hard, aren't you?
Highly practical. The reason I say that is the statement you read.
Uh-huh.
Who issued the statement?
Uh,
The statement. Yeah, exactly. Now you begin to see where I'm coming
you,
from. So problem. So who is speaking for whom? That's one. Then two is the United States is currently trying to get the UN Security Council to underwrite the cost of this what's it called? MSS, which sounds like the name of a gang.
multinational security support.
Yes, it sounds like it sounds like the acronym of a gang, I just need to remove the last S and put MS 13 there.
Oh, yes.
So so the US is trying to get the UN to underwrite cost of this mission.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they trying to do that? Because the UN never agreed in the first place to send anyone in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the question of the guys from Kenya and everybody else that you reeled out, whose role are they servicing? Which is why that group, the last one you said, they're still trying to iron out certain issues. The issue is, who are we taking orders from?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Read between the lines, right?
Exactly. So again, the place is already chaotic, as we are led to believe. Now you're adding more fuel to fire.
Mm-hmm.
Now so we had 87 guns before. Now we're going to take in 780 guns. What happens if we lose another 80 guns? We have 167 guns running around, being chaotic in a mad place, in inverted commas. Hey, I don't know what we're doing, but they read us the headlines and we're supposed to just consume it. I suppose they're doing something at least. So
all right, so let's see. 2,500. Okay, all righty then. Next story, we head on over to Jamaica. Dr. Dixon says no child will leave school innumerate and illiterate. This article, courtesy of Nationwide Radio JM. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris, or Dr. Dana Morris, has vowed the government will not allow any child to leave school who is not numerate or literate. She gave the commitment at a media conference held at the headquarters of the University of the West Indies, Mona, on Friday. Here is Mahira Stewart with more in this report.
While giving her views on the state of education, Minister Morris Dixon highlighted numerous areas she believes are in need of improvement. She started with early childhood. Minister Morris Dixon says no child should exit the early childhood phase of their school journey illiterate or innumerate. She says these skills are the bare minimum necessary in order to matriculate into higher education.
The foundation is absolutely key, and we can't forget about early childhood education. You have to start at the beginning, and that's why so much a key pillar, as the PS pointed out, was early childhood education, because that's where it's important. The start is absolutely critical, and as we go through our schools, we have to not going to send any child out who is not numerate and literate. That's a minimum thing that as a country we have to say. We cannot be sending out children who do not have those basic skills. If we continue to do it, we have failed them and we're continuing to fail them. And I don't think any of us want to be failing our children.
The minister says mathematics grades revealed in last year's sitting of CXCs shows that Jamaica has failed its youth. Dr. Morris Dixon says all Jamaicans must play their part in helping improve education across the country.
Education is not just about the Ministry of Education. It is about every single person. And when we saw those results last year that all of Jamaica was very much upset about, the CXC results, ask ourselves, how did we let this happen? It's not just the ministry. The ministry has a big role to play, but it is all of us as Jamaicans that allowed our schools and our children to fail in this way. The data has been there for a long time showing that the outcomes are not what we want. And have we done what we needed to do? We have not done it as a country. Everybody has a role to play in the transformation. And so I am very glad to have heard the PS and the chair speaking to that, because it is an all of country effort that we are having right now.
The education minister echoed the call of the chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, Dr. Adrian Stokes, for greater accountability among teachers in education. She says more groups, including the ministry itself and parents, must take responsibility in order for the sector to improve.
Everything that we're doing is going to go to naught if we do not have accountability throughout the system, at the ministry, in our schools, our boards. It cannot all be the ministry didn't. We have regions, we have board chairs. The board chairs set policies in the schools with the principal and the leadership of the school. And so everybody has to play their role. Accountability doesn't rest just in the ministry, it rests all across the system. And our parents too. If you have your children telling you that their teachers aren't showing up, you need to tell us at the ministry. We have to hold the entire system accountability and hold me accountable too. From me right down, all of us have to be held accountable.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Go ahead, Adesoji, because I'm seeing the emoji and I'm laughing here because there's something I'm listening for that I'm not hearing. But go right ahead of me.
Okay,
Adesoji and then Ja.
so she said, the what, the what, the what, the what, the what. She never once said the how.
Thank you.
How you gonna do it?
Thank you. That's what I was listening for. But hey, yeah.
You see, another thing is all these buzzwords, accountability. What does it mean to the practical person? What does it mean?
Right, that's all.
What does it mean? You know, you're talking about education. So the bedrock of any society is an informed society, is an informed citizenry, right? And you catch them young. You not said, okay, maybe we don't have sure starts. We're going to implement sure starts. Then from sure starts, at that point, we'll be able to determine if they can tell between what's an A, what's a B, what's a C, doing all of that. How do you add them, phonics, all of that. You're not saying anything. You're just telling us an ideal you want to happen. And I can tell you an ideal of what to happen. You know, I want the people of the United States to have free medical, but I can continue to talk about it and talk about it. But at some point, the penny will drop and people will say, oi, yeah, British guy, what are you doing? How? And then like, oops, I never really thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so nah, it's too much. It's too much. And even it gets to one point, you can hear the repetition. It's almost as if even the minister did not know how to go about it. He kept repeating a buzzword, accountability, even I, and then she goes patois, even I am going to be accountable. That doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
All right, Ja, thank you, Adesoji. Ja, I noticed that you were giving the emoji as well. What do you have to say? Would love to hear your perspective.
I agree with everything that Adesoji said. The issue is why, as a student or a parent, I need to tell you that the teacher did not show up or isn't showing up. Are they still getting paid? Isn't there some type of attendance taken on basis? I thought schools are supposed to report what's going on in the school, which includes if teachers are consistently absent. So I understand accountability, but there's some things that I would throw back and say, isn't that your job? I yield.
All right, thank you, Ja. So, I went on Google, right? Which country is the most literate country in the world. Finland. And before I even get into this one, let it be understood that Jamaica has an excellent educational system. Yeah. Typically, when children leave Jamaica and come to the United States, and I'm using these two countries specifically as an example to make my point. When children leave Jamaica and come to the United States, usually 9 times out of 10, they are 2 grade levels ahead, minimum, at minimum. And I can speak from experience. I can speak from personal experience. All 4 of our boys started school in Jamaica. When it was time to go to school here in the States, we had the reports from the schools in Jamaica because this is impossible, unbelievable. How is this possible that they are so advanced? So typically, when our boys, usually children graduate about 18 going on 19, so our boys are graduating at 17. They wanted to set them back, and we had to stand 10 toes down and no, you're not holding them back to fit in. No, you're wasting their time. So it's not that Jamaica doesn't have a good educational system. We do. I think it's superb. But the problem is, it is not island-wide. Everybody isn't benefiting island-wide. So I went on to Google while Adesoji was talking. Which country is the most literate country in the world? Well, here it is. According to Google, Finland is considered the most literate country in the world with a 100% literacy. Other countries with a 100% literacy rate include Uzbekistan, Ukraine, Norway, Luxembourg, Andorra, Greenland, and another one I cannot pronounce. So Finland's literacy rate is a result of its education system and culture of lifelong learning. Andorra's literacy rate is a result of its small population, high quality education, and free education until secondary level. Norway's literacy rate is a result of its commitment to free education and inclusive policies. Luxembourg's literacy rate is a result of its multilingual education and public support. Greenland's literacy rate is a result of its comprehensive education that is accessible to all residents. Then you have other countries like the Central African Republic, Russia, Latvia, Estonia, Tajikistan, and I know I butchered that, Lithuania. But it is possible. But what we are not hearing from Dr. Morris is the plan of action. How are we going to achieve this? Highlighting the real issues that could be causing this prevalence as it relates to the number of children that are not leaving school numerate and literate. Right? We talk, you want to talk about accountability, blah, 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 blah. You want to run, like pass it to a boss. Let us get down to the nitty-gritty. How can we, and let's start with the basic. How can we make it affordable for children who are not going to private school to be able to attend school every day? Affordability. What can we put in place when we have $3 trillion swirling around? What can we put in place when we have monies not being, when the book them now balance at the municipal level? And the municipal level, aka the parish council, is where there is more direct contact with citizens within community. You're able to hear their needs and address them. Now, people are supposed to now go to school because they don't have no money for bus fare. How about the parish council put a plan in place where there's a school bus system that goes and picks up these children? Or you have contracts with bus drivers that they must pick up these children. How about that? Not putting us supposed to go to school because they don't have no shoes to put on their foot. How about at the municipal level, we see to it that all children are outfitted with shoes, uniform, the books. Not putting us supposed to go to school because they don't have nothing to eat. How about we see to it that every child is fed breakfast and lunch at least? Dinner is on the parents. I don't know. Anybody else has a few ideas that we could possibly recommend to Dr. Morris and the entire Ministry of Education?
It's not rocket science. Didn't she grow up and went through school and got an education?
And the minimum wage, she have to take taxi to our bus to go to work. By the time she buy this, that, and the other, the money done. So she can't send the picnic to school 5 days a week. She can only send the picnic 3 days a week. These things will impact a child's literacy and numeracy level. But you don't want to have those conversations. No? Let us make it affordable. I believe there are things that can be heavily subsidized when we talk about money unaccounted for or unaudited. Let me correct my statement. Now, it's so funny that we're talking that because we have another story coming up. Let me tell you something now. Lord help us. Lord help us. And we're having internet issues again, so I do apologize. Please forgive me. I'm waiting for it to pop back up. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. So, sorry, my apologies. Let me jump to the chat on YouTube before I forget. Jazz says, I feel most students out of the Caribbean come to the US ahead of children in their grades. If you come here and test that shows you are ahead, don't allow them to keep your children back. That is indeed ridiculous. Agreed. All right. Agreed. All right. So in our next article, let me finally. So remember yesterday? What is today? Monday. The conversation actually started last week. So now we have another update. Jamaica, nice. But tell us, I want to go and work in the public sector, more specifically in the political realm in Jamaica. I think I would do phenomenal there. Ah, boy, because I can do whatever I want and get away with murder, fiscally speaking. Because listen to this one now. Majority of municipal corporations have been flagged for accounting failures.
That's surprising.
So the audits are being done, and no.
Someone's being friendly with you.
Listen, you have to laugh to keep from crying. You have to laugh to keep from crying. That's all I can say. All right, next article, also courtesy of Nationwide Radio JM. The overwhelming majority of municipal corporations were flagged for at least one lapse in accounting procedures by Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis in 2020. That is according to the Auditor General's annual report tabled in the House of Representatives last week. The accounting concerns leave the corporations with billions of dollars in potential exposure. Siobhan Campbell to tell us more.
In the Auditor General's annual report, 10 of the 13 municipal corporations were flagged for accounting concerns. These are Portmore, St. Elizabeth, St. James, St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Westmoreland, Trelawney, Clarendon, and Hanover.
One country.
Raised was a lack of sufficient appropriate audit evidence, which limited the Auditor General's scope. For example, at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, Mrs. Monroe Ellis says she was unable to express an opinion on the financial statements due to the pervasive absence of sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to support the transactions, account balances, and disclosures in financial statements. The management of the corporation indicated that this was due to the age of the financial statements. It says there were significant challenges in providing some source documents within the time frame in which the audit needed to be executed. Mrs. Monroe Ellis says she was therefore unable to perform key audit procedures to determine whether the transactions, account balances, and disclosures were fairly presented in the financial statements. The financial exposure, according to Mrs. Monroe Ellis, was nearly $4 billion over 4 years between 2011 and 2015. This is comprised of cash and cash equivalents of $300 million, revenues of just over $1 billion, and expenditures of $2.42 billion. It was a similar story at the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, where the audit scope was limited due to the absence of sufficient reporting documents and records. Its exposure was also in excess of $4 billion. St. James had the highest financial exposure for a combined total of more than $10 billion over the period 2014 to 2018. This was comprised of $4.9 billion in revenue, $4.99 billion in expenditure, and $272 million in cash and equivalents. In response, the Ministry of Local Government says it continues its efforts to support the corporations in implementing a new accounting system. However, the timeline to acquire the system has again been adjusted due to the challenges of responding to the passage of Hurricane Beryl in 2024 and other unforeseen weather events. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
What Beryl have to do with accounting? What does Beryl? Why not blame Beryl for their lack? No.
No.
Beryl,
I
blow
just
the
want to
paper
know-
them.
Go on, James.
James, what you say? Beryl,
No, I said, Beryl, blow the paper them. The receipts.
Why me feel like me in a parliament, but me...
What's the name of that corporation? The one with the combined total of 10 billion. You need to move in with that kind of crowd. Like, what are you not doing? All right. You know, combine a lot of you. We'll top everybody. Combine. Wow.
So if the Auditor General is listening, I would like to ask a question. I understand that if you have a hurricane, you might have lost some information, but I would like to know if companies, if said schools, if said everything that is on your list to be audited is done on a yearly basis, because the stories that we have spoken about in this space, it seems like 10, 5, how many years have passed
15.
and said industries have not been audited. What is the rules of auditing in the country of Jamaica? Because for me as an accountant, it's surprising, but I do understand that this is the Caribbean, but you keep having people come back to Jamaica, right? You have all these foreigners coming in to give back to your country. What are you giving back to your people? Because it doesn't seem like you're giving anything back to your people, because you just have money. You have all this money being audited but not audited, opinions that you can't give, are the rules for auditing in the country of Jamaica. Somebody, please.
You sound
Coffee
very
and toast.
annoyed.
I am annoyed because this is ridiculous. Ridiculous, and it's not even my money, but this is what I do. And even though it's not my money, I see how money flows between one entity to another entity. You can't come on here with your politicians and want other people to be accountable for things that you are not. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I yield.
Can I just add, I just want to add something to what Javed just said. When she asked the question of timing, how long do you do them? What kind of circle do you do them in? Who was the previous Attorney General?
Auditor General?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
look it up.
Who was the previous one?
Let's look it up. I can't even spell. I'm not literate this morning. Whoa, my body. Listen. Okay, so Auditor General's Department. Let us see. All right. So past Auditor Generals. The most recent out. So I'm seeing here Adrian Strachan, OJC. You see, all the letter behind their name. All right. So from 1978 to 2008. All right. Sorry. Let me backtrack. So Pamela Ellis, who is the current one, she's been in the post since 2008. And we cannot ignore this. She has been the Auditor General since 2008. It is 2024, 2025. How many years that? We can't count. No, Adesoji, we can't laugh here now. We really cannot laugh. It's 2024, 2008. That's 16 years you've been the Auditor General. Okay? 16 years. All right. Hold on. You asked a question, and I am going to answer. Prior to her, from 1978 to 2008, we had Adrian Strachan who OJCD, FCCA, FACJP, all of them, the number there, what you call them, letter there, them acronym there. Thank you, because I get very dark and bringle now, Jack. All the acronym there will come back at the name, no mean nothing. Okay? to 1979, and they have the entire history there going back to 1829, and that information can be found on auditorgeneral.gov.jm. So I could come back to Miss Pamela, who did it from 2008.
Servant. You resign. You resign.
But what if
That's
she keeping faith alive, believing that one day she'll be able
it's
to
for 16 years. Oh God. Oh.
That part. That part.
look
But the
good.
one before that was even longer. Didn't you say 1978 to
19.
2008?
Yep. Yep. So we have people sitting in positions that are, I don't want to say them no 30 years, John. 30 years prior to her. We have a problem. They have become fixtures. And I am, with you being a fixture, I'm okay with you being there for a stretch of time if you're performing your duties in accordance with minimum expectations, at least.
I mean, it's laughable. This is your job. This is like you saying, "Oops, I didn't know that was gonna happen." Hello, that's why you're there to audit. What's that title again? What's that title?
Auditor General.
So you're not auditing one ministry. You're auditing the federation. So if at one point in time those papers do not appear on your desk, people, chop, what's going on?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, and then I'll say something. I will move on.
I want to circle back because I don't want to put all the onus on just the Auditor General.
Mm-hmm.
It is the structure, the political structure in Jamaica in totality. Because we know that there is a time where one man can make a change, but obviously that cannot happen or does not happen in your country when it comes to who is in control of the money. I yield.
Yeah, moment.
Yes, James, go ahead.
Yeah, is there a statement? Do you have a statement to read that the opposition leader
So, now that we said, when rain fall, fall, one month, all stuff. All right, so let me do this. So, I want to go back to the article. I'm really disturbed by the whole thing. What concerns me is this fragment where where is it? Mrs. Ellis says she was wait. Okay, here it is. At the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, for example, Mrs. Monroe Ellis says she was unable to express an opinion. So who is over her, or who are bad her up? Who is the person that is making her afraid to express an opinion on the financial statements? What is it? If not who, then what is it? Because it says here, Mrs. Monroe Ellis says she was unable to express an opinion on the financial statements due to the pervasive absence of sufficient and appropriate evidence to support account balances and disclosures in the financial statements. I'm going to make a recommendation to you, Mrs. Monroe Ellis, to the Ministry of Finance, to the leader of our country. This is in my humble position here. Me as a peon. That's how you call us. Adesoji over there in the UK, peon or
a peasant.
A peasant, right? In my role as a peasant in the country. Let me say this. I'm going to give just a little suggestion. To turn the ship around, we're going to need to start with monthly audits. Yes, I said monthly. Daunting, but doable? Yes. Okay? I need monthly audits. It was when I worked in the banking sector, it was something that was done. Monthly audit, quarterly audits, yearly audits. Monthly audits were due by the end of the first week of the following month. What that will do is force those who work within the system to keep daily records. Checks and balances. At the end of the day, everything must be balanced. I remember getting called from different government offices where they would call in for their balances daily. Is that not a thing anymore? I don't know. Right? But there needs to be an immediate turnaround, and you're going to accomplish that by having monthly audits. So then, within the municipalities, there needs to be weekly audits done. See to it that your reports are ready by day 2, business day, second business day of the following month, so that they are submitted to the Auditor General by the 5th business day of the following month. Right? Okay. Auditor, I suggest that you have monthly meetings with those who are in charge at the municipal level. Yeah. I saw it, I forgot, I'm sorry. No excuses. Because this is a big piece of foolishness on your part and on the part of the municipal corporations. How on earth? Okay, she named how many? Yesterday, we had, last week, there was Saint Anne and somebody else. So today we have Portmore is a part of St. Catherine. So I don't, unless Portmore is now its own parish, but then break it down so. But now we have Portmore, which is a part of St. Catherine, St. Elizabeth, St. James, St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Westmoreland, Trelawney, Clarendon, Hanover. That's 10 parishes. We have 14 parishes in Jamaica. Last week, we had how many? How many were there last week? Last week we had St. Anne, so that would make 11. We had Kingston and St. Andrew. Well, there we have it. They're one damn island. What can I say?
But big up to that parish where the most amount of money combined, went down the tube. They are
Adesoji, let me tell you something. That will stress you out. It is stressful. It is stressful. It is stressful. It is stressful. Let's keep it moving. Can't now go make my blood pressure go up. Can't now go pay my bill. According to Nationwide Radio JM, the Ministry of Health is seeking more than 600 vacancies across the island. The positions were listed in the newspaper on Sunday. The bulk of the vacancies are in the Southeast Health Authority, 261. 261 vacancies, I should have said. That region includes St. Thomas Health Services, Kingston and St. Andrew Health Department, Ligonier region, plus Kingston Public and Victoria Jubilee Hospitals. The National Council on Drug Abuse is next with 181 vacancies across the country. So if you're in the healthcare sector, please find a job. Regional Health Authority, which includes St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland, has 75 positions listed. Next on the table is Western Regional Health Authority with positions. That region comprises health facilities in Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, and Westmoreland. 21 of the vacancies are at the ministry's head office in Kingston, and 16 are at the Southern Regional Health Authority, which spans St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Clarendon. There are 7 positions open at the University Hospital, West Indies. So those of you who are in the healthcare sector in Jamaica and you're not working or you want to move to another sector, please go ahead and do so. Positions are open. Director of Public Relations and Stephen Davidson says in addition to filling the vacancies, the event, which is going to be happening starting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 22, and going on until Thursday, January 23, at the Confucius Institute. Why the hell do I have an institute named the Confucius Institute at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies? What? We couldn't find another name for it. Anyway, at the Confucius Institute, the event is set for Wednesday, January 22, and Thursday, January 20 at the Confucius Institute at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. The Director of Public Relations and Communications, Stephen Davidson, says in addition to filling the vacancies, the event aims to expose students and the general public, to the diverse career opportunities that are available in healthcare beyond the traditional doctors and nurses. All right, so spread the word, folks, to anybody that you know who's desirous of securing a job within the Ministry of Health in varying facets. Please encourage them to attend the 2-day event. Again, Wednesday, January 22, and Thursday, January 23, and it's being held at the Confucius Institute at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. All right. Okay, we just need the jobs filled. But at the same time, I must ask the Ministry of Health to step up on the money. Yeah, the money little bit. That may I say. The money little bit. So step up on the money where you pay the people them so that they can stop wish for God foreign for work. Right, true. Okay. All right, Trinidad and Tobago, you're up next. According to Caribbean.loopnews.com, Minister of Trade and Industry, Paula Gopi-Schoon, is leading a trade mission of Trinidad and Tobago businesses to Dominica to explore new opportunities and strengthen the relationship between the two countries. The delegation, which consists of 29 participants, kicked off its visit yesterday with a country briefing hosted by the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, followed by the opening of business-to-business meetings. According to the Ministry of Trade and Industry, 19 companies from various sectors, including food and beverage, construction, printing and packaging, chemicals, household products, and services, are part of the mission. Dominica ranks as Trinidad and Tobago's 8th largest export market and a 10th largest source of imports within CARICOM. You know what? Round of applause for that. The strengthening. We're going to celebrate the strengthening. But we're all a part of CARICOM. Shouldn't there already have been strong ties in place? Shouldn't there already have been strong economical relationships? Especially with all of you being over there. I mean, Jamaica is isolated. We're way over here, so. But on a way over there, so hop, skip, and a jump to each other. What happened? Why is it that the ties weren't very strong all along? But anyway, we continue to celebrate interregional trade. All right. I'm done. I am done. All right. Next up, it is time for our features, travel, and lifestyle segment. It's time for us to go down in the islands. And let me pin the link here on YouTube for this one. Hold on. And they work with patients, they look at patients. All right. And here we go. All right. So in our next article, how Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Bahamas, Belize, Jamaica, Aruba, Barbados, and Cayman Islands lead the Caribbean tourism boom with remarkable growth. A new report you need to know. This one comes to us courtesy of
travelandtourworld.com. The Caribbean's tourism sector has made a remarkable recovery, emerging stronger and more competitive in 2024. Key destinations like Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Bahamas, Belize, Jamaica, Aruba, Barbados, and the Cayman Islands have all played pivotal roles in driving this growth, each showcasing unique strengths that attract millions of international visitors. Their ability to innovate, adapt, and appeal to a diverse range of travelers has solidified their position as leaders in the region's booming tourism market. In the first half of 2024, the Caribbean saw international arrivals grow by 10% year on year, a significant achievement considering global tourism arrivals remain 16% below pre pandemic levels. Even more impressive is the 13% growth compared to 2019, indicating region's recovery only matched but surpassed pre-pandemic numbers. While the rest of the Americas exhibited a 15% growth, the Caribbean's consistent upward trajectory reflects its resilience and adaptability. Each destination has contributed uniquely to this success. Puerto Rico leads with an 18% year on year increase, driven by improved air connectivity and robust demand from U.S. cities. The Dominican Republic, another powerhouse, boasts a 12% rise, thanks to enhanced access from cities like Orlando. Smaller destinations like Belize have shown extraordinary growth, with international arrivals up by 30%, highlighting the effectiveness of direct flights and targeted marketing strategies. Leisure travel, though, remains the backbone of this recovery, with arrivals up by 11% year on year, while business travel lags behind at just 3% growth, reflecting the ongoing for virtual meetings. However, premium travel segments are with high-end cabin booking by 39% year on year, reinforcing the Caribbean's enduring appeal to luxury travelers. Destinations like Turks and Caicos, Cayman Islands, and U.S. Virgin Islands have been standout performers in this category. All right, so do what you must with that information to all across the Caribbean, whether you have been mentioned as a key destination for 2024 or you are one desirous of being mentioned when 2020 closes out. Take note of the things, the areas that are good, areas that we can do a little more work on. Another thing that was mentioned later on in the article, family travel. Family travel has also emerged as a key driver of growth, with arrivals of family-sized groups increasing by 13% in 2024. And I think when you talk about family travel and you think, tell me sense, yes or no. But when we talk about family travel, we need to look at the packages, the excursions are offering when groups come to our islands, right? Let us make sure we have things in place, that are good for groups, excursions that are good for groups. Let us get out into the communities because I think a lot of people are deeply interested in doing things outside of the all-inclusive setting. Am I right or am I wrong? And James, you've been a part of the tourism sector for a long time. What are your thoughts on that? If you're able to speak at this current time.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
think
think Jane.
so. Yeah, I think like as you said, like excursion. That's one of the things that I think Jamaica has an advantage of. They have a lot of excursions, a lot of things to see. Even though like the all inclusive is kind of limiting the amount of people that really take advantage of those excursions. But yeah, and the thing with those things, excursions and other outside things is that it stimulates the economy more than just having you coming into the hotel and just relaxing. Some people travel to relax and they don't want to leave the hotel. Some people want some adventure. And the more people you can get to leave the hotels, the more money stimulates the economy, and the more the country on a whole benefits from it, and not just the big hotels. And yeah, Bahamas did well 2024 too. Bahamas came in number 2. Yeah, Bahamas, but most of Bahamas was like from cruise ship, but it was like um Bahamas, Jamaica, and Dominican Republic. I think they had over 11 million people that visit 2024. So yeah, the Caribbean is bouncing back nicely, and yes, Saint Vincent had a big jump too. 24, I think 26% increase in tourism. So yeah, the Caribbean is doing well.
Yeah. Curious, Ja, before I go on, thank you for that, James. Ja, you were gonna say yes, no? All right. So Curacao leads in the family travel segment. They saw a 38% rise, followed by Belize, Aruba, and St. Martin. Now, Jamaica and Barbados, they attracted diverse travelers. And what was what were the things that they used to leverage? The culture, meaning the RoSolo, your mic is open, meaning the music, the food, right? So the culture and breathtaking landscapes. Jamaica and Barbados seem to have soared where that is concerned. So both countries need to continue to build on that, especially when we talk about culture. When we talk about culture, definitely, yeah.
Oh, what I was going to say was whenever I traveled, even though it was all inclusive, if I
It's so funny. All this happened around inauguration time, where connectivity issues became rather strained. Well, for me, I know it's having. Okay, this is getting. I'm gonna have to ease off a second, guys. Bear with me one moment. Oops, still having the I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah. Who knows? No. So it's not my connections, but there is a lot of static coming through on my end. Yeah. All right, it's gone. It's like it's waiting for me.
Is your microphone near your speaker or something? If you move your mic.
No. Not near a speaker
Okay.
at all. Not at all.
Oh,
Not at
okay.
all. No speakers around me. All right, so let's carry on. We keep going. But yeah, so Jamaica and Barbados and all the islands build on your strengths while pulling up the other areas of opportunity that do exist within your islands. One thing you want to ensure is that you keep your level of service, keep that superb, because a lot of times people will come back if the interaction that they had with people was a good one. Sometimes we go to restaurants not so much because of the food, but because of the interaction, how we were treated, right? With respect, we felt appreciated, so on and so forth. All right. So let's keep it moving. Next up, it's time for our entertainment news. And this segment is called Go Down in Our Coffee Pot. All right, countdown to Jamaica Carnival 2025. Bands, themes, and optimism fuel excitement. All right, so I do apologize for the static that you may be hearing. Yeah. Okay, I'm waiting for it to calm down a little bit more. All right, so according to CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com, with less than 100 days to go before Carnival Sunday on April 27, 2025, excitement is building across Jamaica. The island's vibrant carnival celebrations will see three bands, Exodus, Gen XS, and Yard Mass, taking to the streets with distinct themes. Okay, I'm waiting for the starting. Okay. Distinct themes, events, and performances. Each band has unveiled its themes, promising a spectacle of color, music, and revelry. Exodus will bring Utopia, the Garden of Paradise, to life, transporting revelers to an endemic fantasy. Gen XS embraces grandeur with its theme, Kingdom of the Sun, showcasing radiant costumes. Meanwhile, Yard Mass, the most recently launched band, Jamaica with the patriotic theme, Land We Love, paying homage to the island's culture and natural beauty. So, here's what's coming up for you all if you're going to Jamaica Carnival. The week leading up to Carnival Sunday will feature an array of high energy events. Exodus will host Tail April 24, Fet Gala April 25, and Remedy, the mini road march, on April 26. Gen XS revelers will enjoy Immortal Juve on Saturday, April 26. Then Yard Mass Jump Up Week festivities include Yard Mass Juve on April 26 and Yard Mass Beach April 28. All right. Wait, how we are going to do this? 24, 25, 26. Well, I mean, I tell you, 28. What's for the 27th? I guess it's a rest day. All right. So, Carnival in Jamaica continues to be a powerful driver for tourism and the local economy. The 2024 staging welcomed an estimated 100,000 visitors to the island, and we are expecting more. The Jamaican government is optimistic about 2025, with projections of earning around Jamaican $5 billion, attracting over 9,000 costumed revelers to the festivities. So, what am I going to do with the money? I don't know how the money are going. Beyond direct spending, the growing popularity of the event has triggered increased demand across various support industries. These include air and ground transportation, accommodation, gastronomy, crafts, merchant sales, job creation, entertainer services, vendor sales, production essentials such as sound, DJ services, decor, bars, rentals, food, and staffing. So there is an opportunity to get in, make a dollar, right? Make what you can make, take advantage of the opportunity. All right. Okay, so how is the sound on fan base? Because
it's a little more. It's bearable. It's very. Yeah, it's bearable. Well, one has to pop down to Jamaica to see what the local culture is like. But especially the fact that you said it's going to be slightly a bit energetic.
Yes,
That would, that would be just up our streets.
Are you sure you Brits can handle it? I'm not sure they can manage the team no sleep lifestyle. A week of not sleeping, feet dropping off. Me know so me can't manage it. Me not go pretend.
Very much so.
I can't. Me too all ya no feet.
Very much so. We're still there.
I'm probably gonna have to walk with a cot so that when I'm tired, me just open up the cot and lie down. Take a nap. I walk with my blanket and all of that, and I just find somewhere sleep and then wake up and start again. But yeah, I'm happy for the folks who will be able to take advantage of the opportunity. You know, Jamaica seems to be becoming, let me put it, not be, it is becoming, or it already is. I don't know, that can be argued. place to go when you want party, the party mecca of Latin America. Yeah, I'm not on air, John. Not on air. I had to close out. So yeah, I had to close out. So it is what it is. All right. So now it is we have finished with the Caribbean corner, and it is time for us to keep it moving. It's time to our international stories. I'm gonna take a quick break and see if I can fix some stuff on this end. Bear with me, folks, but let me go ahead and jump to a quick break. Right?
Coffee and Toe is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.
And we're back with you, YouTube Live. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And we invite you to leave your comments in the chat. Engage with us. We want to hear what you have to say, not just us talking and giving our perspectives. We definitely want to hear as well. So first up on the international scene, Benin is where we go for our story. Benin's Mecca of spirits and gods draws tourists and followers with the famed Voodoo Festival. Let's jump into this one. Article can be found on theindependent.com. As children dance with great speed and energy in colorful robes, guided by the drum beats and chants from dance troops, the gods and spirits that are evident all around the arena are beckoned upon by the old and young for peace and prosperity. And on the sidelines, camera clicks from foreigners and locals follow the festivities. Welcome to the ancient town of Ouidah in southern Benin, a mecca of gods and spirits where the celebration of the annual Voodoo Festival brings a mix of tourism and religion in a clash of cultures and the ability for ancient traditional beliefs to adapt to modern life. The small West African nation held the annual festival last weekend with Voodoo marking the return to the source for Africans and Afro descendants. It is time to come back and live their culture, art, and spirituality for those who practice Voodoo. The festival gained popularity over the years from within and outside Africa, organizers say, and attracts thousands of locals and foreigners who flock to the Atlantic coast town to experience one of the world's oldest religions. Officials are now hoping to explore its full tourism potential and showcase Benin's rich culture and tradition. Featuring traditional ceremonies, dance events, and rituals in the form of incantations, adulations, and offerings, Voodoo, which has its own pope whose reign dates back to the 1400s, borrows heavily from the mythology and cultural displays of Yoruba people of Nigeria's southwest and reflects other sides of traditional religion across Africa, including from the neighboring Togo and Ghana. Many foreigners attend the annual festival to document memory and experience the thrill of it, while others, like Jamie Lynn from the French Caribbean island of Guadeloupe, are drawn to it by their curiosity to find out if all they've heard is true. All right, so good for you, good for you, Benin. Um, when I saw something came to mind, and it seems as though the static has spread. When I saw the story, something came to mind, I remember growing up as a child, and Christmas time, you have John Kuno, and you'd have the masquerades in the streets in Jamaica. A little scary, when you're young, a little scary because these figures are dressed up. And I know the Bahamas has a John Kuno thing as well. Who labeled this whole voodoo thing? I don't need you laughing at me, Adesoji. But we need some insight here. Who is responsible for tarnishing voodoo? Who is responsible for making us here in the West not want to have anything to do with voodoo, to remove ourselves from it, not shunning it, calling it evil? Who is responsible for that? Right.
They say, go on, Jack.
The ones who believe that there should only be one religion. So when we were brought here, anything that we did, and I'm going to include myself in it, that went against them was considered bad. And unfortunately, it just was historically misrepresented. Did I say that?
Yeah, you said
good
it
enough
right.
that everyone could understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there's any ambiguity in that. Go ahead, Ja. Go ahead, Adesoji. Thank you, Ja. Go ahead, Adesoji.
Okay, so the immediate problem is it's not voodoo. Voodoo is the concoction of, this sort of scary, once you build up a scary lexicon of words, that the moment you say it rings certain things in certain people's head. It is called Fêtu de Vodun. It's Vodun. It's the festival of Vodun. It's the celebration of your ancestors. All of that, is dressing up as, sometimes when you see elders will go to the market in a certain garb, which is you can tell this is a hunter, this is a market woman, this is a fisherman. All those costumes are supposed to depict something. So when people see it, it's supposed to invoke memories of members of their family that used to belong to those trades. And it's also to then say, oh, we still remember you. We hope you do remember us and you look out for us. The curious thing about them going to Wida is in Benin, now Benin Republic. It used to be, what's it called? It used to be the Porto Novo. It's that was the gate of return for the people that departed from there to the Americas. In Ghana, it's what's it called? It's a Mina Castle. So you have all those forts along the coast of West and Southern West Africa, up to Angola, Gabon, all those countries around our edges. But recently, we're focused on Vodun. Vodun is, like I said, is the celebration of your ancestors, a recall, telling them to bless the people that are still here. And for the ancestors that you're really going to join them now, you're also saying, don't forget, it's an invocation. And I'll end with this. The people that want you to be afraid of that, want you to embrace the likes of watching Enchanted, watching Harry Potter, what's the other one? All of this, even the idea of a mermaid is an African tale. There are lots of, if you go on the continent, there are lots of tales of mermaids, of love, of loss, and defense. So many stories around the mermaid, but they start playing all these there. Oh, please, let me just stop.
So according to Lynn, go ahead, Ja.
I have to say that I have a lot of African art in my home. And I had a friend whose husband was supposedly Christian. Let me just leave it right there. He would not step through my front door because he felt my mask were part of what we're speaking of right now. And I felt in one way that it was unfortunate because in this country, if you don't believe in what the masses believe in, then you're considered an outcast. Even if you just have, like for me, I have this thing where I can just sense and feel certain things. I mean, they used to, in Boston, Massachusetts, you know what they used to do with women back then who were considered, I don't know if I can use, I don't know if I can use the word, so I'm trying to, you know, anything that supposedly goes against this so-called Christian Bible is not considered worthy. And it's sad because some people still feel that way. But yet you have all these priests that have done things against so-called these laws. And you have an entire, how many years of people being used as laborers because of these so-called laws. Are you?
All right, so I want to argue something, and I'm glad. Welcome, I'm not sure if I mispronounced it. Forgive me, but welcome to Coffee and Toe. I appreciate your comment because this was something I was going to bring up. In the chat on a fan base, she put, but most people use the voodoo for evil. So that is all I have seen happen, right? Growing up in Jamaica, when you hear people say, "Me go obia yo," and obia is our thing for voodoo. I have never heard anybody say they're going to obia something or perform obia or go to an obia man or obia woman for good. It is always to cast some evil spell on someone. So can you blame me not having any awareness, somebody who grew up with the obia and voodoo is bad because that's all you see it used for. I have never ever seen where it's used for good. So when did it turn? When did we here in the West start performing evil acts to tarnish the the truth behind voodoo, where it is demonized and archaic? Because mega tell you the truth, I've never been to an obia person. I'll never go to one because all I hear is negative. All I see is negative. How do you reshape my thinking when, okay, I will go to Benin, as this person Lynn has said that she went there and got an awareness, but then I come back to my country and I'm back in the marrow of it all where it's just negativity. How do we change it on this side of the perception of it?
You change it through experience, knowledge, and research on your own.
But remember, though, Ja, if I every day wake up and I'm seeing the same thing over, I'm far removed from the continent. But I wake up every day, and every day you hear people say, "Go on, me go obey you. Go on, me go make your head spin backwards." And it's just all these things, negativity, nothing positive. What am I going to how am I going to change the way I feel?
But no one ever went to the obia person when their family member was help them feel better,
I don't know
or
if
to
those
go get herbs
I don't
and
know if
things like
those
that to
stories.
help them.
I don't know if those stories. I'm not saying it don't happen, but I'm not aware of those stories.
It happened.
Yeah, I mean, even as a Caribbean person, when we use our herbs to help us feel better, some people will look at us and kind of slight us,
Okay.
right? Because they don't believe in it, but we still use it, right? But I just think if you want to know, and it's not even just with this, it's just with anything. If you're curious about something, or if maybe you have a fear about something, maybe do some more of your own research in it that can change. Because I know growing up, when it comes to what y'all got to say, duppy, right? Or ghost, I've had instances in my childhood with that.
Mhm.
And some people would say that is not good. That's evil. But when you think about it, if something happens to you and you know that's your grandmother, your great grandmother, your mother, whatever it is, it's just an energy you're feeling around you.
So what I'm hearing is herbalist. Herbalist different from obia.
But they're using the same things at times, no?
Me no know. Me never got one yet, so me no know.
And again, I'm going to always say, in the world, there is good and there is bad. I think there's always a good and a bad of everything.
Everything can be used for good or evil,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but moments, if you realize it's mostly the black for Africans, it's demonized, right? Because it's a part of Indian culture too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they call it something different. But I grew up in an Indian community,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw stuff like that firsthand. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were born then. I think I'm older than you. You remember Shirley Duppy?
You know, all of them, remember all of you, but
You
one
remember
thing.
Shirley Duppy?
Keep talking. I don't remember it right this minute. It
Okay,
may
so
come back to me.
Shirley Duppy, it was this spirit that took over like a house in Kingston and kick out everybody out of the house. And it was back in the 80s. They make a song about it. You probably could find the song online if you search something like Shirley Duppy. No, serious, yeah. But it was
So I looked it up, James, but go on talk. I had to look it up as you were talking.
yeah, but it had to do with the Indian. So someone that used to work for me, she had a little brother that when he was born, apparently they set a trap for someone like his mom or someone, and he caught him.
Mm-hmm.
And from he was born and he caught him, he couldn't speak, and he was like about 6 and he couldn't speak. And one night, like, I dropped her home and I saw like some Indian, like an Indian band, and they were coming in, and I'm like, what is going on? And she said that they're gonna do like a, what do you call it? Something like an exorcism, gonna kind of rise the ghost from out of the child. And they set up their drums and they beat drums and they sing song the entire night until about midnight. You see the child start like shaking, and something come out of the child, and they rush the child to the airport. Rush the child from the house. Rush the child from the house straight to the airport and send him go foreign. Never went back to Jamaica. Yes, so it happens in the Indian community, but it's not demonized as much as when you talk about black people and Obia. But the Indian have a lot of stuff where they do their stuff too. So yeah, Shirley Duppy.
So in the chat on fan base, Julie says, don't the Christians do the same thing when they catch the Holy Ghost? You know, I laugh when I see people drop on road. Me not lie. I laugh because I think it's one. And forgive me, I know folks who are Christians who are members of the charismatic community, charismatic denominations. I know when they're going to come for me because they're going to tell me, say, me I'm a Christian because I don't know if it catch a Holy Ghost and run, drop and roll. If that is what makes me a Christian in your eyes, I forgive you. I rebuke you and I forgive you because that does not determine if I'm a Christian, yes or no. And the speaking in tongue thing, that does not determine if I am a Christian, yes or no. All right? So no matter has nothing I pretend or not pretend. All right?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that about that speaking in tongues because I grew up in the Anglican church, okay? My Bible, the person that spoke in tongues was not good. And I still to this day believe that anybody that speaks in tongues, I honestly have an issue with.
No, but the Bible does tell you that everyone has a gift. Some has the gift of speaking in tongues, and it means something. Not everybody going to have that gift, right? Some people will have that gift. But what I find is in the charismatic churches, them want everybody to can talk in a tongues.
Yes.
So I went to a church once here in Fort Lauderdale. I went with someone and her family. And you go up for the blessing. So the pastor pushed me forward. I guess when he push you, you're supposed to fall back. So no, so the darling, I'll take it. And he pushed me about 3 times. I'm sorry, I'm not falling back. What am I falling back for? It's all a performance in my opinion.
Yes, to give him fake power.
Right. I have issues with it. I really have issues with it. I'm not one of those that you're going use for drum up support. No. I'm not doing that. Don't pull me into that. Not at all. But I think there needs to be, we can have a better understanding of our ancestral cultures, norms, beliefs, and so on and so forth. I think it is something that needs to be introduced. Well, we can't do it in the States, but especially for the next 4 years.
Yes, you can,
but
because
hold on, Ja, hold on. We can't introduce it in the schools in the States, is what I would say, because we already know. Especially for the next 4 years. But we can introduce it in the schools in the Caribbean and in Latin America. That we can. Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
So this voodoo is practiced in the States. It's practiced too far from me in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that we can't be a part or find out more about it.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt we'll be able to bring that to the schools, because that will be a big fight between Christianity and this practice. But within your own home, like we always say, introduce other things to your children. It doesn't have to be learned through our educational system.
Facts. And at the same time, let me say this. If you are a family of color and you choose not to practice it, do not feel bad about it. That is your personal decision to make. Knowing about it is a good thing. Being aware of it is a good thing. But do not feel as though it is something you have to do. The choice is yours, just as one chooses to be Muslim, just as one chooses to be Hindu, just as one can be Christian or Catholic. All right? That's it. Go ahead.
James wanted to go first.
No, I was going to ask if you found it. I see some stuff come up, like some documentary about it.
Yes, I have it. I have it to read it. Yeah, but I'll read it after Adesoji. Thank you, James. I have 2 things to read. Go ahead.
Okay, so in the story you read, it says the Yorubas have a big affinity to voodoo. The thing about that, the voodoo stuff is when the Trans-Arab slave trade first of all happened, prior to the capturing of people across to the Arabian side of the world, they also interacted based in trade and stuff like that. So in the space of that, they embraced Islam. When the when the colonialists also came, they came with the 3 C's. At least that's what they said they were coming with. They came with Christianity, commerce, and in their frame.
Internet connection again. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So now we have 3 modes of ancestral worship, 3 modes of worship, and what have you. In the Yoruba space, I'm not talking about any other space. In the Yoruba space, including in my family, those 3 are present. Those 3 are present. There's a side of my family where the we call them traditional worshippers. When they're doing their stuff, everybody watches, you embrace certain stuff that you're not supposed to be privy to. You're not privy to. You understand? When Christmas comes around, Easter comes around, what's the other one? New Year stuff. The Christians amongst us do their stuff. When the Islamic festival comes, Eid al-Fitr, they do their stuff. That is why sometimes they look at the Yorubas as people who we will say we take, embrace, but you will never see one become the dictum. One would then say, oh, because you're doing this, that cannot exist. Or because you're doing that cannot exist. No way. So when you said, just because certain people are doing it doesn't mean you have to. Yes, we will say in Yoruba, there's expression that just stuff like that. Look into the sky. Look at the birds. Have you ever seen the birds collide? We will say, òfurufú tóbi tó fún ẹyẹ láti fò láì farakanra, which is the birds can fly in the sky without actually touching themselves. It is like you do your stuff, I do mine. It's not a one track. No, that's an European mindset. No, we don't.
Mhm.
And that is the mindset Black people should embrace.
Yeah. Thank you, Adesoji. All right. So let me read these two articles and then we move on, because we do have another article, our international news segment. All right. So went to Google, James. Hope you can hear me. Hearing a lot of feedback again. All right. Went to Google. Voodoo, they put in Voodoo, is a religion that originated in West Africa and is based on the belief that all things are spiritual. It involves worshiping spirits, orishas, and ancestors, and is practiced in Haiti. Origins. The word voodoo comes from the Dahomean word for God, spirit, or sacred object. Voodoo originated with enslaved West Africans in Louisiana. Voodoo is a mix of West African ancestor worship and Catholic saints. Practices: communal, dance, trance, and rites to connect with spirits. Personal, readings, spiritual baths, prayer, and personal ceremonies. Healing, gris-gris, and healing practices. And then festivals, there are communal festivals. So beliefs. Everything is spiritual and connected through spirit. Humans and spirits guide human and natural lives. Voodoo can help with anxiety, depression, loneliness, and more. So let's now move on to history. Voodoo was practiced in New Orleans in the 19th century. Voodoo became more hidden in the 20th century due to Protestant churches and law enforcement. Voodoo has spread abroad, especially among Haitian diasporas. So the other one I want to talk about is the story that James referenced, Shirley Duppy. So let's get into Shirley Duppy. A Duppy, Duppy, is a supernatural being in Jamaican folklore that can manifest as a soul or a mischievous race of little people. The word Duppy comes from Africa and is part of Bantu folklore. So what is a Duppy? A Duppy is the soul of a deceased person, manifesting in human or animal form. A Duppy can also be a malevolent supernatural being. A Duppy can also refer to a mischievous race of little people, similar to fairy folk. So, how to tell if a Duppy is good or bad? To determine if a Duppy is good or bad, say this: Jesus, the name high overall. If the Duppy is good, it will help you sing the praise. If the Duppy is bad, it will run away. How to see a Duppy? Interesting question. To see a Duppy, rub your eyes with water from a dog's eye. James, what is your son if you go look for?
We call them. We call what you refer to now as Inwi in Yoruba. They're called Inwi. Tiny little. They're almost like fairies, but they're not fairy-like. It's Inwi. So they will say in order for there's a folklore which says for you to get rich, this Inwi would usually go around with a tiny raffia mat. If you're able to rescue it and get that raffia, good luck with that. If you're able to rescue it, if you're able to wrestle it and get that raffia mat off it, then as a result, you know how your genie will come out of the bottle and give you 3 wishes. You get something similar. Yeah.
All right, next story, or this one will close up. Yes, James, real quick.
No, I was saying that's the wrong thing you read. It's on YouTube. The story is on YouTube about the incident that happened.
Oh, are the wrong thing? Okay, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. The story about it.
All right, I don't want to read too much in that because I don't want no duppy in my house. Trust and believe. I don't need that in my house. Sorry.
I have to watch James, man. This channel is going.
I'm sorry. I don't want to duppy in my house. I don't want to duppy around me. Make the duppy them stay which part them there.
You don't want to wrestle?
No, please. Please and thank you. We don't have no time for that. All right, next up. According to travelandtourworld.com, Equatorial Guinea is currently the least open country in Africa when it comes to visa accessibility, ranking 101st globally in terms of the number of countries its citizens can visit without a visa. With all countries offering visa-free access, it stands at the forefront of a broader issue many African nations face: restrictive visa policies. The Henley Openness Index, HO, a ranking system that evaluates how many destinations countries allow their citizens to access without visa requirements or with visa on arrival privileges, places Equatorial Guinea in a challenging position with far-reaching consequences for its global interactions. While the African Union and initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area work toward easing regional travel restrictions and boosting economic integration, visa openness remains a major hurdle. Across the continent, many countries still maintain strict visa policies that not only inhibit the movement of African citizens, but also deter international travelers from visiting. This trend contributes to a rate of growth in sectors like tourism, business, and international collaboration, ultimately stifling the continent's economic development. Visa restrictions are often rooted in concerns over national security, administrative inefficiencies, and an outdated approach to governance that prioritizes control over accessibility. These barriers create an environment where countries are cut off from the benefits of globalization. Restricting access to foreign travelers limits international investments, curtails tourism revenue, and prevents collaboration with global partners. The ramifications are particularly damaging when nations in Africa are trying to position themselves as attractive hubs for trade, investment, and business opportunities. For international travelers, the impact of these restrictive policies is felt across dimensions. Many tourists and business travelers are discouraged from visiting countries with tough visa regimes, impacting industries dependent on foreign visitors. Furthermore, such policies hinder the exchange of ideas, knowledge, and innovations that could contribute to solving regional challenges. And before I hand the mic over, I saw a video on TikTok recently, a couple of weeks ago. And I'm not sure if I played it here, but what it's alluding to is how easy it is for Europeans or the anybody, well, Europeans in particular, Asians, Indians, to visit any nation in Africa. But it is so hard for citizens of any country in Africa to visit any of those nations, any country across continents, right? Asia, Europe. How difficult is it to Australia, North America? Why is that so? Why is it that you can come into our countries with no issues, no problems? You just walk in, but we can't walk into yours. So I was delighted to read the second part that talked about the impact of restrictive policies, right? And the impact on economic growth and global integration. We
Something to the effect that you were okay with the restrictive policies.
No, I never said I was okay with it. So I'm glad you think okay. So what I'm saying is
Let me clean out my ear.
what I was
Go.
saying is how interesting it is that where's my article? Okay, how interesting it is. I liked the second part of the article addresses the impact of restrictive policies because what it's doing, it's highlighting the issues. These policies anybody hearing me, please and thank you. Let me know. At this point, I'm ready to just shut down because I'm tired of it. Anybody hearing me? Okay. All right. Uh, anybody hearing me? If not, I'll shut down because this is pretty much annoying. I'm losing in and out.
Hear you now?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of it.
We're not going to ask you to repeat what you said last. Don't worry. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm just here at this point. I'm over the internet. I'm really over it. Now I have a lot of static. Ah, okay. All right. Static has stopped.
Are you good?
I'll be all right. I need to have a word with AT&T. I don't understand this. Can we go back to old school internet where everything was through wires and say and I lose the connection or nothing? This fiber thing, which you absolutely have no choice. You have to take annoying the life out of it. How are the seas out there? We're having rough weather because you do know our cables are under the water. We're having rough. Having rough weather over the
Well,
oceans.
the weather is kind of bad around the area right now.
Yeah, all weekend. Can why the cables have to why? I mean, to believe they were up in space. That was how our hey. Listen, the paga lie them what they tell me every day. I learn about another lie what they tell you. But figure it out. I don't know who is interfering with the cables under the sea, but I'm finding it rather annoying. Please and thank you. All right, go ahead, Adesoji. Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat.
Yeah. So one question first. I was curious. Where did you get the story from?
This article can be
Mhm.
found on travelandtourworld.com. It's
Okay.
yeah, that's where you can find it.
Okay.
Libya
So
and
the reason why.
Eritrea rank among the least open countries, hindering regional
Okay.
tourism, connectivity, and economic growth across Africa.
Okay. So there's often a curious question as to when you see all of this travel advice, and especially when it points to Africa. For those who don't know, Equatorial Guinea is literally underneath the armpit of Nigeria. It's about 60 nautical miles from Sao Tome Principe, another tiny island. It's a very small place. If you need a microscope to even see it on the map of Africa. The reason why I say that is that place has more oil than the state of Texas. That's why when you mention Equatorial Guinea, I'm like, okay, no, most people don't know about this place. And Equatorial Guinea was the subject of a mercenary takeover in 2004, March 2004. It was led in part by a guy who was previously an SAS officer named Simon Mann. And according to records that were then released after the case was finished, it transpires that the intelligence services of China, the US, UK, Spain, and South Africa were aware that there was a plan like that going ahead. You know why it failed? It failed because the plane they were supposed to take with the weapons on board was intercepted by the government of Robert Mugabe, who then informed the president in Equatorial Guinea. Yes, he's a dictator, but doesn't make it okay that all these white guys just turn up and decide, you know what, we're going to turn the place upside down. And in fact, he, in his book, said that it wasn't about human rights. It wasn't that they loved the people. It was because of oil. In fact, it's the first line in the book. All of this is because of oil, and lots of it. That's the first line in the book. So now, why is that all of that story interesting? It's interesting in the sense that Simon Mann was not working alone. Simon Mann was financed by the son of a very popular British prime minister, former prime minister, Margaret Thatcher's prime minister, Margaret Thatcher. Simon, the only one who was sent of the guys they captured some other guys as well. He got a 34-year sentence. And he was released in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, 2009, after which he wrote the book in 2011. Margaret Thatcher's son was never repatriated from South Africa to Equatorial Guinea to go and hear his charges against him. The government here was so embarrassed that they tried as much to bury the story. But because of journalists here, the story kept coming up. Eventually, they had to dissociate themselves. And South Africa, and then, they leaned on South Africa not to let him be repatriated. So when you get all of these foreign bodies all of a sudden telling you tourists are not allowed to go somewhere, and also Eritrea. Again, Eritrea is a subject of what's it called? Cursory looks by the likes of the United States. because the United States has been pushing Ethiopia to go to war with Eritrea so that they can get in there. But the Eritreans have rebuffed the Ethiopians. So you have all of this machination. Come here, oh, someone is not allowed to go somewhere. I wonder why. Why is it that you're not allowed to go there? Why do you have to tell us you're not allowed to go there? No one wants to go there. If they want to go there, they will tell you. So, yeah, the reason why the guy is very suspicious of people visiting is because of past experience. And that wasn't the first time. That was not the first time. And that was just the most brazen one. So yeah, I yield. Oh, if you want to read about that story, the title of the guy's book is let me see, what's it called again? Yeah, Cry Havoc. It's Cry Havoc.
Not to wreak havoc, but cry havoc.
No, Cry Havoc, because that was the code. That was the code to suggest that the coup was successful.
Ah, interesting.
Very interesting book. Very interesting book. The guy was mad. The guy was angry about what they put him through, because once they caught him, all of them washed their hands off him. And so he came back and he was singing like a canary that was so happy for his belly to be tickled.
Thank you, Adesoji. Go ahead, Mr. President. I noticed that you did.
No, I just wanted to tell Adesoji, I didn't realize how Tommy Principe had so much oil, because I was looking at a study recently where there was looking at access to finance small island developing states, and as a poor territory, they came up. If you have that much oil, how access to finance is such a problem. But just to strengthen the point saying, what I would like to see, however, is better collaboration amongst the African states for freer movement and stuff like that. But the whole international movement, come in and go as you want, no. Let them get the requisite visas, etc. And all this whole tourism stuff, deal with tourism within Africa. There is enough people in Africa that you could have a regional tourism system that is very, very robust, that can spark the development. We could look at collaboration and infrastructure projects and better movement, better roads, better flights connecting the different places and stuff like that. But as to this whole open up so everybody could come, no. We need to open up within Africa. We need to collaborate more within Africa. And there is enough resources in Africa to utilize for the African people, and enough young people that you don't need to come to the West.
But let me ask you a question, Mr. President. Who put these restrictions in place to begin with? Who African countries that them cannot to each other with? Who put that rule in place and them actually sit down and abide by the law?
Yeah, but you have to understand that even when the planters leave, they put people in place to occupy the chair.
Oh, yes.
So if you look at South Africa, a lot of South Africa policies was shaped by an apartheid system that is still in place. Okay, if you look at the countries with the biggest dictator, right? As much as the West would call them dictator, they propped them up for 30 and 40 years. If you look at the countries that was progressive, look at Patrice Lumumba, look at Thomas Sankara, people. Anybody who was 40 people, they were short-lived, assassinated by the West, in many cases, documented assassinations. So even when the West was not there, they had puppets in place to ensure that these systems continue. Now you have revolutionary like Traore and the guys in the Sahel states who is making a transition. We wish them good luck. But that's the way it has been forever.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and they remember, like America and Europe, they control the airspace too, right? I did a couple videos on the connection between Caribbean and Africa, and someone mentioned to me that in the 80s or something like that, but years ago, that there was a flight that was established from Guyana to, I think, Ghana, and I think it flew a couple of times, and then the plane disappeared with everybody. So from that, they held off on doing any more flight. So yeah, so the system, when the system don't want you to do something, they'll find a way because they control the airspace.
But how them for control the airspace but over Africa? I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, no, but they, because remember, like if you
It's
look
crazy.
at, okay, Ghana, if like I've seen going from Ghana to Kenya, and they have to connect through a European, fly from Ghana to a European country, then go to Kenya. So they control everything.
Oh boy. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. All right, moving right along. Time for stories out of North America. First up, put up this. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so this is just an insight into what the next 4 years are going to be like. We can't avoid it. We cannot avoid it. We just keep it circumspect and that's what it is. So, first article out of stories out of North America, Trump offers long promised pardons to some 1,500 January 6 rioters. And I don't think any of us are surprised by that. I think we all knew that that was going to happen. So, this article, courtesy of r.org, President Trump issued pardons for some 1,500 defendants who participated in the siege on the U.S. Capitol 4 years ago. Being the leader of a far-right group fulfilling a campaign promise to exercise executive clemency on behalf of people he's called patriots and hostages. He said in a signing ceremony at the Oval Office on Monday evening, "Hope they come out tonight." The order that would grant a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. That means a pardon for Enrique Tarrio, the former vice chairman, who had been sentenced to 22 years in the federal penitentiary. The proclamation on the White House website also included commutations for 14 people, including Stuart Rhodes, the founder of the far-right Oath Keepers group. The move paves the way for the release of Rhodes and Tarrio, who were both convicted of the rarely used charge of seditious conspiracy. Trump also directed the Justice Department to the scores of pending cases that stem from the attack on the Capitol. And here are some. I'm just going to read these headlines. Donald Trump signs the order to rename Gulf of Mexico as Gulf of America. Trump revokes Biden's executive order to reduce drug costs for Medicare and Medicaid users. Another headline we have here. Trump ends legal immigration pathway program for Cubans, Haitians, and Venezuelans. Trump gives TikTok 75 days to sell half of the U.S. or face a shutdown. It's just Trump. Using Pastor Lorenzo Sewell promotes cryptocurrency token after praying at Trump's inauguration. Trump ends remote work for federal employees. And the list goes on. So that is that one. Next up, according to MSNBC, as Ramaswamy prepares to exit Doge, the Endeavor faces lawsuits. Let me go ahead and pin this article here. Hit this one on YouTube. Why are you laughing at this stuff? Let's just run through these stories. I think there's a soundbite for this one. I think there is a soundbite. Yes, there is. I'll just wait for it to pop up. But yeah. All right.
Are you done?
Hang Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. Okay, let's see.
We talked about a government rule that requires a car company to report whenever a car gets into a crash in self-driving mode. Crashes like this one on Thanksgiving Day in 2022. When
Oh, so that's not, I don't know why they put that clip to the story. Let me go ahead and read this one. So, Vivek Ramaswamy confirmed his departure from the so-called Department of Government Efficiency on Monday, saying, "I'm confident that Elon and the team will succeed in streamlining government." And he wrote that on X. During his presidential inaugural address, Donald Trump announced that he's the restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. And to that end, the Republican said he will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. The news was exactly surprising, though it was not expected to be part of the new president's inaugural address. Trump first outlined the basic idea for the advisory panel in September, and the week after Election Day 2024, he announced that the so-called Doge endeavor would be led by GOP mega donor Elon Musk and failed White House hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy. At least that was the original plan. As NBC News reported, one of the co-chairs of the department has already decided to move on before the panel was even formally created. Vivek Ramaswamy will launch a campaign for governor in Ohio early next week and is parting ways with President-elect Donald Trump's incoming Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. This is according to two sources familiar with his plans when speaking with NBC News. He's leaving DOGE. He's going to announce early next week for governor, one of the network's sources said. It became increasingly clear over the last week that pursuing the governor's race and running DOGE was not compatible. He's leaving on good terms with Trump, Elon, and the team.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm finished.
I gave them 6 months, but he didn't even make 2 days.
No.
Hold
Okay.
on. Where's my bag of popcorn? I have my bag of popcorn somewhere here. I'm sorry. Bad manners moments.
Do you remember? You remember a guy during this is first day already. I was like, who needs Netflix, man? This is brilliant. Do you remember this guy? When Sean Spicer was director of communications.
I don't even remember that name. I'm going to be very honest.
The guy who was screaming, the crowd sizes was X amount.
Oh, yeah.
So you see, we keep receipts. We keep receipts. And then you remember there was a guy who then replaced him. Do you remember that guy's name?
Go on, you'll remember.
Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony Scaramucci did not last more than 100. There's a joke going around that Vivek was Scaramucci. He didn't even get to do. Because if you watch the what's it called, the inauguration, some people said Vivek finally understood what it meant to be black in the United States, sitting at the back of the class. He was not even in frame. They had to literally, MSNBC did a very good job of trying to find him, and I felt sorry for the small chappy, and because he was so tiny as well, he was like, oh my God. So that was one. For me, the painful story of the day was the reversal of the drug prices.
Yes. Yeah.
That was nothing funny about that. That was absolute. That is just being cruel for cruel's sake.
That is the ultimate right there for those who vote
know you like your face, but we don't want to see it. So that was one. Then the others. Apparently is lost on you. I mean, so they needed to be Then one final one. Oh, signing an executive order to rename a place on a global map. Whoa.
What can I say?
That was the joke. It was like, oh, so because you signed an executive order in there, bearing in mind, most of the atlas originates in Europe. Yeah? You remember Marco Polo and what's his name? Columbus, Walden. I could name all the explorers. They didn't use a map from the United States. They used a map from the Geographical Society, Royal Geographical Society in London. They are not going to change that to the Gulf of whatever it is you want them to call it. So, I don't know what they are talking about, but hey, if we, one final one. Oh my God. Oh, it was so good. It kept on giving. The suspension of citizenship in the United States. I don't know who he was listening to. When he signed, when he took off office, he said, I swear to defend and protect the Constitution of the States. So, which means on day one, this guy was already breaking the law. You cannot rescind the birthright citizenship. Why? Because it's a codified right in the Constitution of the United States. And to change it, you need 2/3 majority across the nation. I mean, this guy, I don't know, but for some reason people are cheering, oh, we love it. The fact that you guys are dumb. Didn't you do basic civics? I'm not even an American, and I know that. I yield.
Okay. So next up, Jai, with the eyes out. Next up, we're on to your state. As a matter of fact, Texas could join Louisiana with to require the 10, I can't even talk, the 10 commandments in classrooms. And this one, courtesy of NPR. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Proposals to put the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms are gaining momentum across the country. Louisiana passed a law last year, but it's currently blocked by a federal court. Now, Texas lawmakers say they'll pass their version this spring, with other states eyeing it too. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider reports.
When Louisiana passed its 10 Commandments school display law last year, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, a Republican, took to social media. He said Texas should have been the first in the nation to pass such a law, and he swore the state's legislature would do so in 2020. I spoke with Republican State Senator Phil King, who will help lead the effort.
To be honest, if you don't know the 10 Commandments, you don't really know the basis for much of American history and law. It played such a role in our founding and among our founders. In fact, few documents have had a bigger impact on the United States, but on Western civilization in general than the 10 Commandments.
Republican State Senator Brandon Creighton heads the Education Committee, and he told me why he wants the 10 Commandments in every classroom.
We can't hold our society back or hamstring the teaching of national pride and basic principles and morality because of someone, some way, somehow being offended of being an American or following principles that simply encourage people not to tell a lie to one another or to dishonor your mother or father. Yeah, I think that's why our country's in the mess that it's in.
Following Louisiana last year, lawmakers in other states, including North and South Dakota and Tennessee, have introduced 10 Commandments bills. Ever since a 2022 Supreme Court ruling opened the door, states have been pushing the edges on what Robert Tuttle, law professor at Washington, D.C.'s George Washington University, says has been the norm on church and state.
What we're seeing is an effort to extend the range of religious dominance, not religious freedom, but religious dominance in governmental space. And it's very hard to square with longstanding traditions of separation.
One of the people opposing the trend in Texas is Democratic State Representative James Tallarico.
On my first day in office, I put my hand on the Bible and I swore an oath to the Constitution, not the other way around.
Tallarico is currently a seminary student and used to teach in San Antonio public schools.
I think if Jesus read some of these bills, he would remind us to treat Jews, Muslim students, Buddhist students, Hindu students, atheist students as ourselves. And that's not what this legislation does.
In 2023, a 10 Commandments bill passed the Senate but died in the House, thanks in part to some Republicans who agreed with Tallarico. But the text shifted further to the right in the last election. Stephen T. Collis teaches religion law at the University of Texas at Austin and outlined the competing views.
Those who are opposed to the 10 Commandments in schools feel like this is an effort to inject Christianity into public schools. Those who are arguing for posting the 10 Commandments would argue the idea that public schools can be neutral is a myth, and what public schools are actually doing is secularizing children and removing from their education any notion that Christianity played a role in the development of Western culture.
While a federal appeals court in New Orleans considers the Louisiana law, Texas supporters say they're determined to push forward. For NPR News, I'm Andrew Schneider in Houston.
Ja, I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm not hearing anything on this end. Everything sounds clear on this end. Do me a favor.
When you played, so for me, I'm sure you're in the blender. I'm not sure if it's because of the weather or other people. Adesoji, does she sound like she's in the blender as well?
Yeah, that's the case I get, especially with the last report. It's,
okay.
It sounded proper mixer.
Okay.
Nothing I can do. I have zero control over that.
I hear you. I hear you now. Moments. We hear you now. Do you hear us?
I'm hearing you all loud and clear. I have no sound.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything sounds kosher on my end. So it's definitely
Okay.
it's not me, it's definitely things beyond our control. Sorry about
Yeah.
I really apologize for the poor quality of show today for everyone listening online. I know Mad Libran is still streaming straight from YouTube. So for everyone listening on madmusichouse.com, everyone on YouTube Live, and everyone here on Fanbase, I do apologize. It is not me. It's not me creating this bad experience. It's called the internet. All right.
So we heard the gist of this story, and the only thing was the beginning when you said they are trying to house this bill with their version of the 10 Commandments.
All right, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay, but when I go back, thou should not steal.
Okay. I'm glad you brought it up because I have the 10 Commandments and I want us to go through them.
Go ahead.
All right. Here are the 10 Commandments. Hold on, make sure I have all them. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I want all 10. I don't want to take out some. I want all 10 commandments. And then now come give me some one. Okay, here we go. First up, honor your father and mother, as the Lord your God commanded you, that your days may be long and that it may go well with you. Right? Next, we have you shall not steal. Oh, oh no. Hey! No thieves live in Texas. You shall not steal, you shall not steal or cheat away what others worked for night and day. Hey! But open up a generous hand to feed the poor in the land. All right. Next up. You shall not bear false witness against thy neighbor. This is one about honesty. If you lie to someone, you are bearing false witness. Hey, all right, hold on. Next up, keep it going. You shall have no gods, and everybody knows Americans worship money. Mhm. You shall have no other gods. I alone am God, your Lord. All idols are to be abhorred. Trust me. Step boldly to my throne. Sincerely love me alone. You shall not covet. Thou shalt not covet. To covet means to be so jealous of something someone else has that you want it desperately. All right, next. We did you shall not steal, right? You shall not commit adultery. Hey, America done. We're done. We're done. The country done right here. So if nothing else, this is one we're done for. You shall not commit adultery. Be faithful. Keep your marriage vow. The straying thought, do not allow. Keep all your conduct free from sin. Hey, I just have a quick question before I continue. Is the are the 10 commandments posted up in the White House anywhere? Just asking. I just want to know. Thou shalt not murder. You shall not murder. Curb your anger. Do not harm or kill. Hate not. Repay not ill with ill. Be patient and of gentle mind. Convince your foe that you are kind. All right, next up. Okay, so do not murder. You shall not make idols. You shall not make any idols to worship. You shall not take the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and to keep it holy. Yeah. What did I miss? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I did all 10. Honor your father and mother. You shall not bear false witness. You shall have no other gods. You shall not covet. You shall not steal. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not murder. You shall not make idols. Keep the Sabbath holy. Am I missing one?
The covet. Don't covet your neighbor.
Thou shalt not covet. Yeah, I said that.
Okay.
Listen. Yeah, thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's the first one. The second one, thou shalt not make any graven image, make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not take the name that the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor thy father and mother. Thou shalt not kill. Exodus 20, verse 13. To not commit adultery. Exodus 20, verse 14. Thou shalt not steal. Exodus 20, 15. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Exodus 20, 16. Thou shalt not covet. Exodus 20, verse 17. I rest.
And number 9, the one you just read. That's our president in a nutshell. How you?
This one is about honesty. If you lie to someone, you are bearing false witness, and you may cause harm to yourself and them.
Okay, so I'd just like to sprinkle this one in. So since we're focused on, are we focused on Texas or the United States in general?
Just Texas. Come on.
Okay, so just Texas. Yeah. Could you read them? Could you read those?
Which one?
Those commandments.
I think you should focus on the United States in general because they said it was based on our founding fathers.
Yes.
Their
Yes.
concept on
Yes.
the Ten
Yeah.
Commandments.
Yeah.
I mean, if I not say,
No, for what you said, RoSolo. Finish.
No,
They say no. The reason
to the entire United States, because if our founding
no,
fathers based what they did on the Ten Commandments, first of all, I've never known that Moses was from America. Second up, I'm done. So just
no.
just
So
leave it to
no,
Texas.
the reason I wanted to focus on Texas. The reason I wanted to focus on Texas
Mm-hmm.
is you would find a what's it called? What's the word called? A hypocritical position for every of those commandments in Texas. You don't even need to go across the state. Start from the first one. Thou shalt not what? What does the first one say?
The first one says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Exodus 20, verse 3.
Okay, so the richest man in the United States or in the world, Elon Musk, is domiciled in Texas. The last time, I think if he enters a church at the moment, that church will probably explode. But, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't. He worships money. In fact, the only reason why he moved to Texas was because he was being taxed in California. And he was being regulated in California. But they said, come to Texas. Here we allow anything to slide. That's one. Number two.
Or anything to roll.
Well, we're rolling. Okay, so the one about not coveting somebody else's stuff.
All right. So the next one is you're talking about commandment number 10. Thou shalt not covet. Exodus 20, verse 17. To covet means to be so jealous of something someone else has that you want it desperately. Coveting makes a person miserable and keeps them from putting God first. This commandment helps keep you from falling into this bad habit.
Okay. That one is actually lawmaker in the States, Ken Paxton. I don't even know where to go with that one. You can take that one in any shape or form. This guy literally used 16 indictments. But somehow, because he's of the right complexion, he got away with murder, literally. So, give me a please.
All right, next one. Let's talk about thou shalt not steal.
Oh, God. Texas. The same Texas that claims it doesn't want government money, yet takes it and, oh my, no. I mean, it's
Do you want number 7? Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Well, Ken Paxton holds that one as well.
All right, thou shalt not kill. Oh, come on.
Oh, thou shalt not kill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got 3 judges who decided, you know what, they're gonna allow a woman to bleed to death while they're deciding whether she should get healthcare or not, because a biblical text told them to lose sight of their humanity as opposed to what God envisaged for everyone in all of those Abrahamic texts, which is underscored by love.
All right. So
go on.
That's it. Let's move on because we have more stories. Because only thing I'm going to say is this.
So we did it all in Texas.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go far.
We didn't have to. Here's the thing. If you're going to put it in the classrooms, also put it in every federal building, make sure it's in the office of every politician, everywhere. Why not go ahead and put it up on every intersection, everywhere? And I'm hoping that by them displaying it everywhere, as everywhere you turn, you see nothing but the 10 commandments. I hope it will invoke within us some sense of humanity. I hope it will invoke in us the call to treat each other with respect, at least respect, to learn to love one another. I don't have to like you, but love one another. And that love will be displayed in how we treat each other. Not us here in the States, because you ought to love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? So, and your neighbor is not necessarily the person next to you or your neighboring country, but everyone all around the world. So, if they're going to pass a law requiring public schools to display the 10 Commandments in schools, let us not just display them, but let us start living according to them. And then, maybe then, we will have a better America, a better world, right? Because we're going to lead the way. We're going to be exemplary, right? Let's move on.
Can I just say one thing before we move on?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. The separation of church and state is enshrined in the Constitution under the Amendment
You sure?
of the U.S. Constitution. Yes.
Enshrined.
Yeah.
Enshrined
Yeah.
means?
Enshrined means it is codified. It is there in black and white. You don't have to interpret it. You see it. It's written. Yeah.
Yeah, we know, but do they know?
No, they will soon find out. The establishment clause of the First Amendment says, and I read, the Congress shall make no law respect establishment of religion. I repeat, Congress shall make no law make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So it goes back to all of this. We're signing executive orders, people are cheering. Meanwhile, because they don't even read a constitution that is so little, the size of a pocketbook that you can flip through and just read, and it's all there, and you can immediately know what is ultra vires, to use Latin, which is above powers of the executive. I mean, this. Come on, you know what? We're yoked.
All right. Next up, Trump shuts down app to help migrants seeking asylum. According to Nationwide Radio JM, shortly after Donald Trump was sworn in as President of the United States, his administration shut down the U.S. Customs and Border Protection CBP One app for migrants. The app was introduced by the Biden administration. It was used by migrants to notify the U.S. government of their intent to arrive at a port of entry and created an orderly way for migrants to seek asylum. The Biden process allowed nearly 1 million migrants to enter the U.S. at legal border crossings. The CBP reported that November 2024 saw the lowest level in illegal crossings at the U.S. southern border under the Biden administration. Through the end of almost 532,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans arrived lawfully and were granted parole under the parole processes. Of that number, almost 111,000 were Cubans, just over 213,000 were Haitians, and close to 121,000 were Venezuelans. A post on the CBP's website read, effective today, January 20, the functionalities of CBP 1 that previously allowed documented aliens to submit advance information and schedule appointments at 8 southwest border ports of entry is no longer available, and existing appointments have been canceled. So when I read this, the only thing that I remembered was the clip from Mia Motley, and it will forever resonate with me. Developed countries create problems. Developing countries. The essence of it is this. These are not her exact words, but the essence of it is this. So, what's going to happen is the citizens of developing countries will have no choice but to flock to the borders of developed countries. However, if developed countries are so inclined to be honest about the issues that have been created, they will then seek to fix those issues. And by doing so, you will avert the whole situation. No leave their country because people leave. People only leave because they don't have the access to things that they need. And that's it. It's an easy fix. You can't create a problem and expect that there won't be repercussions from the problem. Now, I want to go back to a conversation I had a couple of weeks ago. I think it was around which country? Was it Honduras, Ecuador, or one of the Central American countries we're talking about? And we are not negating the fact that there are issues within said countries. Every country has its issues, every single one. But for another great nation to further upend a country to its benefit, the benefit that is of the great nation, to dismantle systems, to disrupt systems, and wreak havoc or cry havoc. You wreak havoc and then leave it and then tell people to figure it out. We can't do that. We can't do that. We have to change the I don't know what playbook is there, but we have to change how we operate. Otherwise, what is going to happen, or what is going to continue to happen, is more respect is going to be lost. Respect is already waning. And you can't reclaim the respect by force and threat and all of that. No. That goes nowhere. That goes nowhere. We need to change how we do things. I rest.
When we started, I said we're living in interesting times, and that half of the things we do here from going here on now, we've done before. There was a book released in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, titled The Underground Railroad by Cousin Whitehead. This stuff is literally in there. How people survived, how people escaped from the plantation and got to the free north. That, again, goes back to us also understanding what we've been through before and able to navigate using past experiences. People are going to have to navigate this 4 years, because for these guys, it's not about repairing anything. It's just about being wicked. And that's it. Just wicked. That's it. Because you see the Doge guy basically just cheering, oh, I've wiped out DEI in the federal government because I closed the website. It's like, okay.
All right. We're going to move on to our next story because it's almost time for us to get off air. And I do apologize for the static that you may be hearing. We are having some internet connection issues. So again, I apologize to everyone watching YouTube live and to everyone here on Fanbase. And the static is getting louder in my ear. But we're going to push through. Next up, a Jamaican doctor in Seattle has been named the 2024 Surgeon of the Year by Business Journal. And this one was sent over. Let me give her a round of applause. And let me go ahead and read this one. Okay. Are you going to stop the static? Are you going to stop? Okay. Jamaican-born surgeon Dr. Andre Dick, Senior VP and Surgeon-in-Chief at Seattle Hospital, has been named Surgeon of the Year. He said, I am grateful to share this recognition with my family, Seattle Children's colleagues, and the other honorees. I was especially thrilled to have my children join me on stage to accept this award. So congratulations. Definitely congratulations, Dr. Andre Dick. He was officially recognized by the Puget Sound Business Journal last year for his work in healthcare leadership and transforming the lives of children. So That's a good way to end the segment when we talk about news out of North America. Something positive, right? Something positive. All right. So real quick, TikTok talk. Trump signs executive order to pause TikTok ban. Provide immunity to tech firms. So let me paste this link on YouTube. Want to welcome everyone to Fanbase. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on YouTube. I invite you to click the link at the top of the page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so let me post this one here. As I told y'all before, it's going to be difficult to find stories that do not include, involve, or some way allude to, but we keep moving. So according to NPR, as a matter of fact, I think we have a soundbite for this one, so I'll go ahead and play the soundbite. Yeah, we do.
Another executive order from President Trump could give TikTok a reprieve. Trump's action seeks to pause the start date of a law banning the social media company unless it's sold. The order also attempts to shield TikTok's business partners from liability so they can support the app without fearing prosecution. So, does this clear up this limbo? Here's NPR's Bobby Allen.
TikTok is in an awkward situation. A federal law recently upheld by the Supreme Court says it must split away from its China-based owner, or doing business with TikTok becomes illegal. That would effectively shut down the app, which is what happened Saturday night. The shutdown lasted for about 14 hours. The app finally snapped back to life after Trump promised to take executive action, and now he has. There are mainly two things he's doing here. First, he's trying to push back the ban's start date for 75 days. Some wonder, how do you delay a law that's already started? And second, he's saying, don't worry, companies supporting TikTok. You won't get into trouble if you keep TikTok online. But some legal experts aren't so sure that'll work.
This is not a power the president has, and he cannot wish it into existence merely by saying something and calling it an executive order.
That's Alan Rosenstein, law professor at the University of Minnesota. He says the president cannot override an act of Congress, and that includes trying to give legal cover to companies like Apple and Google, which control app stores where people download TikTok. The tech giants removed TikTok from their stores Saturday night. That also includes web hosting providers like Oracle. It was among the firms that restored service on Saturday after Trump promised an executive order. The tech companies in the Trump administration did not return requests for comment. Ryan Kalo has been watching closely. He's a law professor at the University of Washington. He says for some companies, Trump's action might be enough to keep TikTok alive, even if the law does technically say otherwise.
They're more afraid of Donald Trump getting upset with them than they are of a legal threat under a binding law passed by Congress.
Kalo believes it's a risky gamble. He says, think about it. If a company is not being prosecuted because Trump tells his administration to leave them alone, well, what if he changes his mind?
The minute he withdraws his support, if he does, then that's when TikTok goes dark, and that's why everyone is currying Donald Trump's favor.
It's possible, Kalo says, that some of these questions will ultimately be decided by federal courts. Bobby Allen, NPR News.
I just have to laugh. At this point, I have to laugh. That's all I can do. What we have to do is learn the art of pivoting if we don't know how to do so. Learn the art of pivoting. Stay focused on what it is that we need to accomplish. And have a plan. That's all I can say. Do not become so reliant on one thing that it becomes your end all, right? And if that rug is pulled from under you, God help you. That's all I can say. All right, gonna take as a matter of fact, no. What time is it? It's time for business and tech. Go ahead, Mr. President, and we
just one observation in the article here, right? You're saying that, okay, so the Congress passed a law, the Supreme Court upheld it, and the president, who does not have the power, tell people to go ahead and bypass it. Now, if that take precedent and it happens, okay, let's say even if it's challenged and some lower court upheld the challenge or whatever, where do you go from here? It literally means that the president is a law to himself, because if the branches of government that was put in place to protect those, whether you agree with it or not. You know, you have the Congress, you have the Supreme Court, and then the president could override both Congress and the Supreme Court and pass an order that is adhered to by the companies within the country who is immune from breaking that law. Where do we go from here? That's just to put on the table.
That's a good thing to highlight. Definitely good thing to highlight, Mr. President. I don't know. Right now, quite frankly, I'll be honest, is second by second, hour by hour, what's that? Second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. That's just how I'm existing, right? Today it can be one thing, tomorrow it can be another. We don't know how the river will flow. We just we just have to govern ourselves accordingly. Just stay focused on what we have to do and keep moving. If them ban it, then ban it. I mean, I've never made $1 off of TikTok, but I know many people have benefited significantly from making money off of TikTok. And forcing a company to sell even up to 50% of their shares, I don't know. Isn't that kind of a form of bullying? I don't know. And the truth is, I asked this question: how are we being protected? I spoke about me just saying I have my nerves can't take something. I was having a conversation, and before me even come off of the
TikTok poses a threat to their brand. And the more Americans look away from them, the less they become relevant. And there is nothing more important than capturing the young and growing market, because Facebook is essentially almost like a granddaddy playground, you know, but they need vibrancy. And TikTok has got that. So for them, that's commercial threats. Not so ideological, because Americans doesn't really do ideology. It's more or less, you know, money. That's the bottom line. And all of this they're doing is just to corner money. The rest is distraction for their base who, for some reason, they're winning something, wherein they're not. I mean, reversing the price of Medicaid and Medicare drugs. Do you think it's only going to impact people that don't look like you? So, I mean, that is dumb in itself. But they cheer, you know, they cheer, even to their own death and demise, they do. It's astounding. It's really, really astounding.
Yeah, but Adesoji, remember, Kevin O'Leary has been raising funds to buy it for like 2 years now, right?
Yeah, but I
Why
don't think
must
those
we
guys will sell
own
to
it?
him.
But why
Do
must
you
we
think so?
own it? Why do we have to
Yeah,
own
I think
it?
there's a chance. Yeah,
They will sell to him.
I think so.
But
Remember,
why do we have to own it?
no,
Why?
because I think okay. So the reason why I don't have a problem with that, because YouTube, WhatsApp, and the other American platforms are not allowed to function in China. So I think that it's fair, then if they can't go into China market, then it's only fair that China not be in their market, even though they allowed it in the market already, and YouTube is not allowed in China. So I don't think you can beat them too much for saying that. I know they're using the whole idea of their stealing Americans' information, but they didn't have to use that. They could just say, look, open up your market to us, and we will open up our market to you. And simple.
But James, the Chinese company only own 20% of TikTok, so they are not majority shareholders, right? Secondly, this is not a TikTok ban. This is a forced sale. Saying they don't want TikTok in America. They're saying TikTok have to sell them right now. The latest one with the president is 50% off the business. So it has nothing to do with the ban. The Chinese just ban you. That's it. Which I could understand. If they came out and just banned TikTok, fine. But it seems as though they're trying to swindle a portion of the company away from TikTok. And who can buy this? It's the same people, the 1%ers with the money, because they're the ones that own all the competing apps. So if you're banning TikTok, fine, and your point is valid. But you cannot keep TikTok and force them to sell the company to you, even while they still own half of the company. So it's a 50-50 ownership here, because 50%, 50-50 ownership, right? On top of that, American workers that work for TikTok own portions of it. The owner is Singaporean, and international companies own the rest. So it's not like it's a Chinese app that is banned. And even if you were banning TikTok on that basis, that is fine. But what I see here is not a ban, it's a money grab. TikTok has a big market share. They want that market share. So they're trying to force them. And they realize it wasn't working. So now they're saying, okay, we could wring their hand enough to give us 50% of it. And if that happened, look at who would buy it. More than likely, it wouldn't go to Kevin O'Leary. And even if Kevin O'Leary and them is allowed to buy it, they will have qualified investors, right? Who the average American would not qualify to make accredited investors, because the average Americans are not accredited investors. So by the time they have the first round of fundraising, they would already come up with enough money from the VC and the hedge funds and so on. But guess what they would say? Oh, it's Americans that buy it. No, it's a few people that run America that will come and buy it, and everybody will go along merry, and nothing will trickle down. Who knows what will happen to the ownership of the 20% that is staff owned, because you have to change the structural dynamics of the app in order to obtain 50%. Whose 50% are you going to buy when nobody owns 50% currently? Think about it.
But I thought originally it didn't have anything to do with money. It had to do with national security. I yield.
You really thought so?
Yeah, but
it's America.
Yeah.
It's America.
Yeah, remember all of last year we were having the conversation, right? That TikTok was the only platform that they weren't able to control with the spreading of information, right? So like people did their TikTok videos, and they were coming out with some information that the government probably didn't want out there, and that's how it started, right? They could not control because it was controlled by the Americans. So using the whole data thing that Americans want Americans to lose their information was just to get it, just to shut it down or to get it out of their hands. And remember, the way how the deal is, they're taking over. From what I know, like they're not taking over TikTok completely. Like they're taking they're controlling all the data that is in America, but TikTok that operate in other countries would still be operated by the original feed, but they would make another server. That's what Kevin O'Leary was explaining. Like they would create another server and information for the American, and probably the Canadian would have been joined to them, would have been in their hands. And then China, and I don't know if it's in India or those places, that would stay with the original owner.
On a point of
But it's
information,
confusing.
gents.
But
Hold
we'll
on
see.
one second, gentlemen. I have to wrap up at 1:30. So we're gonna take a few more comments and then we definitely have to keep it moving. Go right ahead.
On a point of information, currently the American data on TikTok is stored on Oracle, which is an American company. So that's a mute point. The Chinese don't have no access to that information. That is why the president's so-called executive order that goes against Congress and the Supreme Court immunize American companies who is partaking in what is going on with TikTok now from being prosecuted, or he thinks immunize them if he can override Congress and the Supreme Court. So the point that they're trying to protect American data is it's false narrative, because the compromise that was made was Oracle will host the American data so that the Chinese do not have access to it. I yield.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for the spirited conversation. We're going to keep it moving because we do have some more stories to get through. And I know it's going to come up again, guaranteed. It is a point of contention. So as such, yes, we are going to be hearing more about it. It is time to move on to our business and tech segment of Coffee and Joe. Let me go ahead and put up the banner for that. All right. Quick, right here.
The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.
All right, thank you. All right, first up, in business and tech segment, Tasha, thank you for this one. 100 workers at the Tin Building by Jean Georges lost jobs. And this one, and I must apologize if you're hearing any static. It has nothing to do with me. It's strictly an internet connection issue. I don't know what the AT&T going on with. All right, let me go ahead and read this article that's on Instagram. At least 100 workers at the Tin Building by Jean Georges lost their jobs after their employer performed a surprise check of identity and employment authorization. Chefs, line cooks, maintenance workers, servers, the people who do our garbage and recycle, said a current employee, referring to their fired colleagues. It's everyone. The company that owns and operates the Tin Building by Jean Georges confirmed it performed employment authorization checks due to an internal restructuring, but would not comment on the number of people who have lost their jobs as a result. The gleaming $200 million food hall that was heralded as New York City's new food epicenter, and that was back when it was opened in summer 2022, but which has struggled deeply since then, losing its parent company more than $100 a day on average, or $83 million in total, according to publicly available financial records. Asked whether the job cuts were related to the building's financial struggles, a spokesperson said they could not, they had not heard anything to that effect. So we don't know if it's because of the unauthorized employees or if it's because of financial struggles. Could be a mix of both. And let me tell you this, they're going to face financial struggles to a larger degree because of the immigration concerns. That's all I'm going to say on that one. All right. Next up, anybody want to say anything on this before I move on to the next article? All right. So I've had this one for a hot minute. This one is courtesy of Mr. President. Thank you so much. Can you dispute a debt that was sold to a debt collector? And I'm sure that's a question many people have had in the past. So let's get into this one, courtesy of CBSNews.com. Every year, millions of Americans are contacted by debtors over all debts, and the debt collection process tends to be similar, whether it's a lingering medical bill, delinquent credit card debt, late loan payments, or something else entirely. It starts with phone calls and letters, but over time, debt collectors' tactics can escalate to lawsuits, age garnishments, all of which can take a big toll on your finances. But while the debt collection process may be similar, the validity of the debts being collected on can vary. After all, debt buyers tend to purchase delinquent accounts in bulk, sometimes for pennies on the dollar. At that point, the paperwork transferring ownership of your debt may have passed through multiple companies, leading to errors on the amount owed, the payment history, or even who owns the debt. So your name and information may be tied to debts that you're not responsible for. Are you facing this situation? You may wonder if you have any rights or options to challenge the validity of the debt. So you can dispute a debt that has been sold to a debt collector? And if so, how does that process work? So you may want to work with a debt relief company to get rid of your old debt. Can you dispute a debt that was sold to a debt collector? Yes, you can. You can dispute any debt that has been sold to a debt collector. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which is FDCPA, grants you the right to request verification of the debt and dispute it if you believe there are errors or discrepancies. And it's often a smart move to do so. When a debt is sold to a collection agency, the new owner of the debt must provide proof that the debt is valid if you request it. Debt collectors are required to send you a written notice, often called a validation notice, and they must do so within 5 days of their first contact with you. This notice should include details such as the amount owed, the name of the original creditor, and your right to dispute the debt within 30 days. But why dispute a debt that's been sold? Because debt buyers often make mistakes. For example, when company A sells your debt to company B, they might not pass along all your records, which means a new collector might not have your complete payment history, records of any payments you made to other collectors, your original signed agreements, or proof that they own your debt. This can lead to debt collection agencies trying to collect on debts that were already paid or trying to collect the wrong amounts. Record issues or record issues can also result in debt collectors trying to collect on debts that are past the statute of limitations or debts that belong to someone else. So before you pay anything, you should request proof that the debt is yours, the amount they claim is correct, and that they have the legal right to collect it. If they can't prove all of these things, they must stop trying to collect from you. So, how to dispute a debt that's in collections? There are a few steps you'll need to take to dispute a debt in collections. Well, here's how to get started. Request a validation notice. Gather your records. Send a written dispute letter. Send your letter via certified mail. Wait for a response. Once the debt collector receives your dispute, they must stop collection efforts, provide evidence to validate the debt. This may include a copy of the original contract or statements from the original creditor. If they cannot validate the debt, they are legally required to stop pursuing you. So, what is the bottom line? Disputing a debt that has been sold to a debt collector is not only
but also your legal right. The FDCPA provides a framework to protect you from unlawful or deceptive debt collection practices. By understanding your rights and following the proper steps, you can challenge a debt and potentially avoid paying money you do not owe. Want to say thank you. Thank you so much for sending this article over, Mr. President. There are so many people who are overwhelmed, right? They feel fearful, they feel trapped, but no, that does not need to be the case. All right. Do not think you cannot dispute something that is in. It is important that you frequently check the debt. What you call them? The credit monitor, the credit bureaus, right? And the three main ones, and there are others, but the three main ones are Equifax, what a name? TransUnion, and what's the other one? What's the third major one?
Experian, I think.
Yes, thank you, Ja. It is so important that you keep abreast of what is on your credit report. With our information being bought and sold, whether in the light web or dark web, God knows who has access to our information and what they're doing with it. You want to see to it that you put credit monitoring in place. Get your alerts set up. So if anything out in your name without your knowledge, at least you can try to address it expeditiously. Anybody has anything they want to add to this? Because I think it's so important.
What I want to say on that moment is that a lot of people, especially when you have insurance, we don't look at the bill. I had a debt collection company call me for stuff that was covered by my insurance. And when I asked them to provide proof, that is how they stopped getting in contact with me. Because they could not show the debt in question was already paid at the double collect on it. Because it was covered by the insurance and me with my deductible.
Yeah, yeah. That is so important. But I do have a question. Anybody want to go before I ask my question?
Yeah, I had the same thing happen last year with the insurance. I don't know if that's a new thing that's been happening as a recent or what.
Wow, wow. All right. So here's my question, Mr. President, and I want to turn back to you. So you contact them and they stop pursuing you, right? Meaning, I should say they stop sending you correspondence via mail, email, text messages, or you. Does that remove the report, remove it from your report, your credit report, or does it stay there until the 7 years passes?
It never get on the report. It never got on the report. They was just attempting. And when I follow up with them and ask them to provide proof, because the company in question closed down. When I asked them which company it come from, etc., they could not give me the detail. And then they just never contact me after that. But I had the records from the statement from my insurance, etc., to show that that debt was already paid.
Okay. All right.
Because they called you and the first thing they said, oh, you can make a payment. And they also like you could settle the payment for a lower amount and stuff. So they make you think that you're getting a deal when they're extorting you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. All right. I want to say thank you to everyone just there on Fanbase and everyone watching on YouTube Live. Thank you so much. If you're here on Fanbase, I invite you to click the link at the top of the page and subscribe to the Coffee in Tow YouTube channel. And you can also watch live. Go right ahead, Ja. I know you say something. Go right ahead.
The only way for it to get removed from your credit report is sending them examples of the same thing if it's on your report. Sending them an example and proof that it has been paid or whatever it is you find to the actual credit bureau. That's the only way it can get removed.
That's it. No other way. Wow. All right. Thank you, Judd. Thank you. All right. Coming up tomorrow in our business and tech segment on Coffee and Joe, why elite MBA graduates are struggling to find jobs. All right. So we will be turning the spotlight on The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House. Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you.
All right, so Health and Science News brought to you by Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. And our first article in our Health and Science segment, many do not discuss sex after cancer, but survivors are saying they wish they would. And for this one, we do have an audio clip, and it is courtesy of NPR. So let me go ahead and play that for us.
Cancer survival has made giant leaps in recent years, but after treatment, patients' lives can be fundamentally reshaped. One common struggle, dating and intimacy. We want to warn you that this story discusses sex and sexual health. Here's NPR's Yuki Noguchi on the latest in her series, Life After Diagnosis.
Just 5 years, Delta James led a very different life. She was 33, married, and happily homeschooling her 5 daughters in Waterbury, Connecticut. Within a year, James was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. Then came divorce, going back to work, and cramming into the spare room of her mother's house with all her kids. There was much to grieve.
I was really angry that I had to start over, especially at a time where I got a diagnosis. It felt like starting over,
Newly single and still young, James craved escape, pleasure, and connection through dating.
Going through cancer, all these different things that kind of made me feel like empowered, if nothing else. And I think that's sexy. So I felt like, for the first time in a lot of years, I kind of know who I am and what I deserve.
But James worried, as many cancer patients do, whether sex after surgery and chemotherapy might hurt. James's oncologist, however, dodged her questions uncomfortably.
When would be a good time to talk about certain things? Because I don't want to just be thing.
As cancer survivorship grows, so do the number of people living with sexual side effects. Yet doctors often don't help patients find solutions like counseling, vaginal moisturizers, or therapeutic devices that might help. Janine Anderson is a researcher and professor at the University of Tennessee.
Sexual health is one of the greatest unmet needs among survivors. Dating and relationships and sex and sexuality have been ignored.
She estimates about 80% of patients struggle with sex after treatment. Many also crave advice about related matters like,
when do I disclose I'm a cancer survivor? When do I share my body? When do I share my scars?
Deltra James did not always share her diagnosis with partners.
So I had to learn how to do things just to look healthy presenting, just to not look like I didn't have eyelashes. I try and do things like use all of the wig glue that I could, kind of thinking about your positioning, like you being on top is less likely your hair to come off.
Treatments didn't affect her libido, but it made her joints hurt. And eventually, a lumpectomy left a C-shaped scar on her left breast.
That's very, very noticeable changes. They couldn't be ignored. And so that's when dating got a little scary.
James was especially nervous about telling a man named Mike Carbone.
When I told him about my diagnosis after knowing him for like 7 months, I actually felt kind of relieved because I had canceled dates enough that he questioned how much I was like into him. But the real reason was like I had just had chemo and was feeling like garbage.
The pleasure brought them closer. His compassion, she says, became its own turn-on. They're still together 3 years later. But some things are still delicate, like when Carbone dreams about a future together.
Like to check in and make sure that he understood what I'm dealing with and like the realistic odds of a future. And that was an important conversation to have. because he was like, maybe you shouldn't have said that. And I was like, well, I don't want you like talking away. That totally writes me off.
Even with its challenges, James says, dating after cancer has given her the gift of a fuller life. Yuki Noguchi, NPR News.
All right. And that being said, again, I want to remind everyone that January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. We have been reminding everyone daily the importance of setting up your appointments, ladies, OBGYNs, get your screenings done. All right. Don't take anything for granted. It is better to know where you stand. If there is something to be addressed, let us have an intercession as quickly as possible. Yeah. And men, please encourage the women in your lives, your moms, your partners, your spouses, your daughters, nieces, and so on and so forth, your grandmothers. Please encourage them to follow up on their OBGYN exams. Also, men, we need you as well this year, especially if you're over the age of 40. We need you to set those appointments with your urologists so that you can have your prostate screening done. I know, you don't have to tell me, I get it. However, you can have blood screening done where they can check your PSA levels. Please let us take care of ourselves. All right. So
I wanted to
yes, go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
I add something, especially about that story and just for us in general. So we're in the year of 2025. There should be no excuse any longer for you to accept half a medical care. There's always going to be someone that you can find information from. It may take a little while, it may be a little frustrating, but what I found out even recently with some things that I've been going through, just having conversations with people in your circle will afford you information that you never even knew because you kept quiet.
Yeah.
So if your doctor is not giving you the information you need, find it from another source. Are you?
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for highlighting that, Jack. All right. So that was our Health and Science segment brought to you by Lorbel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com for a natural, beautiful you. And our final story of the day, it's in our Believe It or Not segment. I don't know if I'm to laugh or cry with this one. Let me go ahead and pin it on YouTube here. Oh, Lord. Wait till you hear this one. When you think it can't get any worse, right? Or when you think you have heard it all. Let me put it that way. When you think you have heard it all. Yahoo.com. And it's also on the Miami Herald. A black man on a Miami flight detained of trafficking his white wife, according to a lawsuit. A passenger on an American Airlines flight to Miami assumed a white woman was a human trafficking victim of the black man traveling with her, and American Airlines employees acted on the assumption. That's according to a federal lawsuit. Isn't there's a lawsuit? The man and woman were a husband and wife on their honeymoon. And their lawsuit says those assumptions and actions led to them being detained, falsely imprisoned, questioned, and humiliated. The lawsuit, filed by attorney Jasmine Olivia May Rand for clients Anthony Williams and I cannot pronounce her name, also points out other times in the last 2 years when black passengers alleged racist treatment. For the Williams lawsuit, the company said in an email to the Miami Herald, American strives to provide a positive experience to everyone who travels with us. We are reviewing the allegations of the complaint. The court docket does not list the attorneys for the other defendants. 2 flight attendants and the passenger. The lawsuit says Arizona residents, a retired police officer, were on an American Airlines flight from going from Phoenix to Miami back on September 13, 2022, when another passenger told 2 flight attendants Williams was trafficking his wife.
I live in Phoenix, right? And I'm pretty sure you guys probably wondering what I'm wondering. Were they role playing? There's some freaky people out here in Phoenix. That's all I'm
Okay, so upon landing, our clients were falsely imprisoned. So I didn't know that American Airlines employees could imprison people. But anyway, upon landing, our clients were falsely imprisoned by American Airlines employees who escorted them off the plane. They were made to wait, confused and embarrassed as other passengers deplaned and walked by them. And then they were questioned by Miami-Dade police officers. If they were role playing, that's a good question. I don't know. But even so, American Airlines employees, why would they agree with the assumptions?
That part.
Yeah. Why would you agree with the assumptions? All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the YouTube live. I'll be right back with you, fan base. And I think I'll be right back with you, fan base. Right back with you.
Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real-time news updates, in-depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go-to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.
Thank you once again to everyone who logged on and watched the YouTube live. I appreciate your support. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9:35. See you then. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. You are in the world. We are ending the live stream now. Take care.